Test, test, test.
Como dijo Tony, el hombre como ya evolucionando, pero no, la niña que te ponen el bono un poquito más electo, hasta el hombre se lo y también el padre.
Yeah, you're good at that. Mira, revisa este de...
All right.
Check the prices. Maybe we should bring down the prices there.
All right.
We'll go back there.
Switching it up a little bit today with no table here. Trying to make it look a little cleaner. So I'd love feedback from anyone. I am not going to sit behind this podium and talk to everybody like a preacher, so I'll be moving around.
Better for your back.
I already think I need somewhere for water.
I think I met that company CapEc,
Yeah.
the one before, in the Seller Summit. It was an
Yeah.
Israeli guy.
I like CapEc.
Yeah. That's not like a hard money loan,
No, it's inventory finance.
but then they take control of your payments, right? They take the money directly out.
Well, they can't take more than what you agree to,
Right.
right?
But it automatically goes to them, the payments? How does that work?
No. Well, they advance. You get the money in advance through them.
Right?
So if anything, it's better for cash flow.
Right, you get the cash flow, but then they pay, it's a percentage, and then they draw the money out.
Right, but say you have 50K that's coming to you on Thursday,
Yeah,
but you need to pay them 5. You'll be advanced 45. They'll receive the disbursement.
from the software, from the
Right, but
Amazon
you'll have
seller.
already received your 45, so you get paid quicker.
Yeah,
and
no,
you're-
that's fine,
right.
but is that like a third-party software that they put into the Amazon that
They
withdraws
come in
the
as a
money?
user
Oh, okay.
and they change where it goes. Yeah.
Got it. Are we getting roasted today?
With the listing? Yeah, I plan on bringing you guys up.
Good.
Because you're open to it.
I wanna get roasted.
Yeah, yeah, I
That'd be
definitely
great.
plan on doing that.
Wonderful.
I feel like it's been a few weeks since I've been up here. I was away on an event, someone covered, I think 2 weeks worth, and then it was holiday last weekend, which I missed you guys. So it might take me a little bit to get up to speed. I know a bunch of other people messaged that they're on the way. Tom's actually flying in and coming here straight from the airport, so it should be fun. His plane is delayed. If you know Tom, he's full of patience and probably making friends at the gate in Tampa. Let me see some announcements for the group. By the way, sponsors, you guys are regulars, so you know it. I vet a lot of these sponsors. I say no to more sponsors than I say yes. So the sponsors that are on here I consider to be very solid sponsors. If you're looking for a solution for some of these, by the way, the QR code, if you scan it, it goes to a page where all of them are at, so you don't have to get the QR code on the page where it's at. But Avast, Anything International, Trace Views, they're great at removing stubborn negative reviews. Sellers Fi is a great funding opportunity for your business. CapEc is another one, but based off inventory financing. Levanta is great for connecting with influencers for your brand and managing a small army of influencers. Unicargo, shipping beasts when it comes to logistics. Gatita, refunds, reimbursements, reconciliations, and a whole bunch of great people here. Connected Commerce Council, they're great at just lobbying on our behalf. I don't know if you're aware, but there's a lot of stuff going through the courts right now where they're trying to break up FBA from Amazon. So putting the seller hat to the side for a second, just as a buyer, I like being able to order something and receiving it almost instantly. They're trying to say that it's a monopoly. So they want to break away FBA from the Amazon marketplace, which I think would completely trash the ability to do what we do on Amazon and just make it. What would happen is when you buy, every one of these other carriers, like the ones that didn't evolve for 80 years, like UPS and FedEx, and everybody gets to have a fair shot at taking the shipping of that product and getting it to you in the time that they said. And the other thing would be is having your product in Amazon FBA wouldn't automatically give you the buy box. So a lot of stuff. And the problem is if everyone was fulfilling their stuff FBM, that sounds great, but the logistics are really hard and the average person is just not set up to get you a product that you order today, delivered tomorrow, packaged really nicely. So obviously I'm against it. Connected Council does a lot to help with that. And I bet the people that are passing the bill probably all like to receive their products that they order the next day via Amazon. So it's ironic. Lot of cool stuff going on with the group. On the Wizards of Ecom side, the back end of this, a line that I learned from Toastmasters, if you see the banners that are there, Toastmasters Doral, the home for Toastmasters Doral is now Wizards of Ecom. Every Thursday morning for anybody that's interested or anybody that's flying in. Really good. But in the process of doing a Toastmasters event, the person that gets up, the Toastmaster or whoever's organizing a meetup like this, they say, you know, this is not possible without a lot of different functionaries that do the event. And that's no different than with Wizards of Ecom. So the back end of the group's been growing a ton. Thank you, bro. Thank you. The team's expanded a little bit. Starting this week, for those of you who've been following around, and I know a lot of you have been making a good deal of money off Your First Dollar, YFD, but Erica's been crushing it. You guys have seen her in the hallways here, but she's been crushing it on like some serious breakthroughs on the TikTok side of things. We rapidly got to that 5,000, which we wanted to find out, like, you know, doing these organic posts, like how quickly could we get to 5,000 followers. I think she did it in either 28 or 32 days. I keep thinking it was like 2 days, give or take, on a month. And that profile that we use, we're doing a few different profiles for content, but that particular one you guys can kind of look at and imitate. It was nothing hard. It was very few posts had to do with products, I'd say. It's very natural, very organic. But any questions you guys have about that, you can ask her. We start working on the actual course coming up this week, something that we hope is a lot better than YFD. And anybody that's involved with it would actually have some pretty direct connections with brands that want to pay you to do videos for them. So cool stuff there. We also welcome somebody else to the team named Mary. More on the Spanish side. I think you met Mari one time when you came. Yeah. But be expecting a lot of cool content that way, especially in like the fitness supplement side or anything shampoo or anything like those types of stuff. Really cool stuff there. Podcasts are growing. I appreciate everybody's support here. Some of you jumped on and on your own left some Google reviews of the place. I always appreciate seeing that as well. But the podcast, take a second to listen to it. We've been really upgrading the content that's there. And unlike Amazon, we can't ask for 5-star reviews, so I usually do. I would love a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. It's Wizards of Ecom in English, and there's Wizards of Ecom in Spanish. Something I would love everybody's feedback here on, because this is something that's way out of my comfort zone, more personal, but I'm doing it really for Wizards of Ecom, is we shot a lot of video content this last week for what is being called personal branding for me. That phrase makes me ridiculously uncomfortable because I'm more of like a behind the scenes and it's us, not me. But the idea is, what's happened is a lot of people in the group who've referred people to the group have kind of referred them because I've met them at an event or I've met them somewhere else. So the idea is if we could kind of amplify that, the group can grow even faster and we could have some amazing people in there. Some of those videos were wildly uncomfortable for me to create. So I am nervous for them to air and that you guys are going to see them and find them cringeworthy. What I would love is feedback though, either way, because that's, at the end of the day, what is it, discomfort, what's the thing? I don't know, but basically being just uncomfortable will help you grow. So trying to lead and not just tell you guys to do uncomfortable stuff, but me do some stuff too. Today's, what else? What's something else? Online seller cruise. I think there's 10 cabins remaining. So if you're gonna go, you need to lock in your cabin. It's the last week of January. When is it, Fernando? Last week of January or the first few days of February, I think? Last week of February. Third week of February. First week of February. I didn't see you back there. But Captain Andres, who's there? Captain Fernando at night.
Hey.
The night captain.
The night captain. Gladly give the final
It is, I'm super biased. You could decide whether I'm right or wrong after you go, but it is the best event in the space. There's a lot of cool stuff that's being taught there. Not every speaker is great, just like every other event, but we really do try to bring in some good speakers. But when it comes to networking, you are stuck on the ship with everyone. So you get to get in all the questions you want. And unlike a lot of other events, when you talk to a speaker and you really like them, like when Ramon gets off stage, the paparazzi surrounding him, you really can't talk to him. He's very antisocial. So you really can't get what you want. But I can tell you that Ramon, after one beer, won't shut up.
I was there.
I was there. Right? And you can get anything you want out of Ramon after that, and he's stuck on the ship with you. So as much as he'd want to dive overboard and get some alone time, he can't run from you. So like, you stalk him. You usually find him at 2 a.m. in the jacuzzi with a pizza. Right? But it's a really, really good event. And then the fun side, which I feel like I'm really bad at, Carnival takes care of that, so I don't even need to deal with it. So whatever you're into, that ship has it. As far as pricing goes, I believe we have tickets right now for $300. You got to get your cabin, but with Carnival and all them having like an all-inclusive and your food and a lot of other stuff's included, it's, as far as it goes, you'd have to get your hotel and travel and all that at another event. It's a pretty affordable event as events go. So highly recommend you get it. When the 10 cabins go, that's it. Like, there won't be anybody else. So you can go to onlinesellercruise.com to get that info. I'm missing something. Oh, today's topic. We're going to do the beginner hour first, but today's topic is going to be listing roasts. We're definitely going to roast somebody who here live. I'm not going to say too much about his product right now because as soon as we start the roast, I have questions. You do not have to hold anything back. I know Eddie very well, and his partner here. He wants to be filleted. He doesn't want you to. He gets enough people telling him that his product is the best thing since peanut butter, right? But that's not why he's here. Like, we rip it apart. That's what we're gonna want. Ramon, are you cool with me bringing up your stuff at an idea? Yeah. We might roast some of Ramon's, and I have one or two other products in mind that I'm thinking of bringing up to roast. If you have a product in mind, whether it's yours or somebody else's that you want to just volunteer up, that's what we're gonna do. If you're on the stream, we have some people watching the stream, and drop a link to your product or drop the ASIN in the chat, and I will. What happened on the stream? Something? Both of you are looking. I'm like, it's bad. Somebody's making a comment about my nose or something. That's what I see when you guys do that. So I really like these topics because, first of all, it requires very little planning and like pre-work. It's very raw. This is what I do. If you put your listing up there and we crush it, the idea is not for you to be demoralized. It's so that you could take action and start making some improvements. It does not mean that you should make all of those improvements at once. But put it like this. If you submit your listing and you get roasted, you're basically getting free consulting for however many minutes or hour that it goes on, and that's a great thing. So I'm excited for that. Who was the third one? There was a third listing I was going to look at. Oh, yeah, there's another listing I'm going to look at it. I know they're okay with it. They're very open with their brand, and it's going to be a women's product, right? Nothing inappropriate, but like it's going to be a women's product. And Ramon, you should excel in this area. It's going to be a women's product that we can talk about, and those are the three that I have in mind. But you guys can submit more, and we'll do it. You don't talk about what your product is, Candace, or?
No, I do. Yeah.
Can I talk around?
You can say, yeah,
Okay.
no, you can say whatever you want.
So there's a debate a lot between whether you should send your products straight to FBA or to you before going to FBA. And I'm usually in the paranoid 1% that everyone sort of laughs at of receive your products, especially the first few times, because you don't know what you don't know. And the example I like to give was that very high-end spoon that I used to sell for coffee. It was like a $60-something spoon.
One spoon?
One spoon.
Really?
Very small spoon too. Like, it was the size of a spoon that you would imagine you would have if you were stirring something in a shot glass. That's how, but it was used for high-end cappuccino, something coffee drinkers, where you have the coffee cup that has the little indentation or the little nipple on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And it can fit right around the edge. See how the finger goes up with a $60 spoon? And that's what it was meant for, and I was like, oh my God, there's no way. So I'm getting the spoon for less than $1,
Yeah.
selling it for 60. And what could go wrong with a spoon? I even got it, we did an inspection. Like, we inspected a spoon, no moving parts. Sent it in, it got destroyed
Why?
on the spoon. Because what happened is, they inspected it. They sent pictures and everything. But when either they were inspecting it or when they were putting it back in the packaging, they didn't wear gloves. So if you have a piece of silverware and you now have smudgy fingerprints on it, you are now receiving a $60 spoon that has been used in your eyes. Humidity in the air, dust particles, it's bad. And we got destroyed by it. So if a spoon, no moving part spoon, can go wrong, I just say you don't know what you don't know, and I learned a lesson from that, and since then we've done it. Without going into details, it looks like Candace would have almost had a situation like that, and has been able to hopefully fully avoid it and come out a lot stronger from it. So I really emphasize listening to everyone's opinion. You don't have to just go with what I say, but I'm not trying to make, sometimes when it seems like I might be just making it more difficult or trying to say, I walked 3 miles barefoot in the snow to school. I'm not saying you need to. It's coming from a place of like, I've been burned by this before. Avoid
It
it.
just makes sense to send a carton to you and the rest to a CPO.
I'd like to say yes, but no. I mean, what happens if you had 2 cartons that you were sending and then 50%, I mean, that's a statistically significant amount that was sent to you then of your order, 50%. But if it's 1 box of hundreds of boxes, maybe you got a good box. Maybe they took the time to look at that box a little closer before they shipped that one to you. So no.
So from your experience, when you have things sent to you first, always, when do you then feel, I guess, does it vary when you feel confident to be like, all right, we're going to just send it in?
Sometimes I never do.
Really?
Sometimes it never got there for me.
Really? But you're so you're going to, like, if you order with thousands of units, you're still going to then go through them?
Yes, I have, but I want to be like real transparent here. The majority of the time when I was doing that, when I was bringing in a lot more products and a lot more containers than say now, the logistics landscape, the fees, the cost per click, and the things that ate your margins were much less or not as significant as now. If I was bringing over, several lines of products right now, new in containers from China, I would a lot more aggressively be looking at to how I could get this straight to China. Because if I'm talking about a lower margin product, that might be the only way for this to be profitable. By design, Amazon is making this an AWD. It's almost like if it's coming from China, it's an AGL, AWD, FBA flow. It's kind of what you need to do to not get destroyed not destroy your profit margin. Doesn't mean I like it, but majority of the time I didn't. And the reason for that is every time you order and you place a new order, I'm just going to say China, but insert whatever you want. But every time you place a new order from China, usually top of mind for you is, how do I get better rates? How do I make more profit? Factories are the same way. They want to make more profit on subsequent orders. They really can't control their labor costs. They can control where they buy their materials from. So let's say for the first few orders, what I did was bring it all to me. And after 3 orders, with order sizes going up, I love what I'm seeing. I trust them now. And they decide that they no longer want to get the springs or the screws or some piece from the same supplier as before. They don't reach out and ask you that, right? But things have been changed about the product now that they can have a better margin on. They didn't intentionally say, I'm going to get an inferior thing. But they've been sold on the idea that what they're getting is equal or greater quality at a better price. but you technically have not approved, that's no longer a complete sample that you have approved of. That's not years of selling this product and those components. So you have new stuff going on, and you don't realize it.
Right.
All you know is your defect rate has gone up a little bit, but you haven't been shut down, and most sellers will be just like, well, I'm not getting shut down, then I'm okay. And then they change something else. And the next thing you know, sellers find themselves in a scenario where Amazon's shutting down my listing, I got a defective order, my factory screwed me. And it was like, no, you got complacent. You decided that the most important metric here was my trust with the factory, and it's not a matter of trust. And you get burned. So for that reason, a lot of the times I was like, no, for some reason, sometimes it never changed. Sometimes it just continued coming in, and I had to develop a system for receiving stuff like that. But, yeah, but happy you caught it. You're going to be able to work through it. We'll figure something out and tell them, and that's it. What else?
But how do you know? Like, for example, you're starting this, you don't really know each and every component.
Somebody throw him the cube, please. One of the cubes.
You don't really know each and every component. Like you can't call out the specifications of each and every component when you start, and then you assume that the supplier is doing things in the best interest of making a good product at an affordable price.
Right.
And you receive a sample and you go like, you know what, this is fantastic. This is great, this is exactly what I expected. But you don't call out specifically, well, the box has to have this level, this thickness of carton, and this product has to have this component and that. And you don't start like that in the beginning, usually. At least small companies don't, right? And then at some point you just gotta bring that back and just tell them every single component of every single part of your product.
All 100% right. This is another drum that I like to beat. When I started selling on Amazon, Amazon 16 years ago, I mean, I wanted to say I was a business owner. It was a unicorn. It was the spot that you just listed things and they magically sold, and you had huge margins, and there was this thing called FBA. You just stuck a bunch of stuff there and it moved, and everyone came to you for business advice, and it really wasn't that you were that much great of a business person, you know? You didn't do quality control. I mean, it wasn't until years later that anyone was even talking about third-party inspection services. So I call those like the hobby years, even though there was an LLC and all, and you needed to pay taxes. But as time has gone on, we need to move more from hobby years to this is a business. And a lot of people didn't evolve. What's up, man? Yeah. A lot of people just didn't evolve with it, and they've died. They've gone out. They built something that allowed them to get to 7-8 figures based on a rebate scheme or a weird play on URLs that the name changed of every 2 years. They did that. Those are hobby moves, not really business moves. And 2025, where we're at now, there's no error. There's no room for error to do those kind of hobby moves. We do need to treat it more like a business. We should have been doing like, know how thick the walls are on this box. How many people here have gotten their product and done a 5-foot drop test on it? Nobody has. Well, you have. I'd love to see that.
I didn't do it, but they did it in the...
Right. Most people have not. Ironically, he's got a bazillion patents on his product, right? So he has a lot more skin on the game and probably did it. So that's just a weird call out. But like most people didn't. Everyone here is aware though that their packaging and everything should be in sellable shape and the product should be fine after a 5-foot drop test, but we didn't. So just because that doesn't cost the small business much money. So we should have been doing it. We got away with not doing it for years, but that's past. We no longer have the luxury of not doing that. We should have, and now we just should. So that's kind of like my short answer. Like, if you want to be making money selling on Amazon in 2026, you need to get rid of all those hobby stuff. If you work it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. And if you work it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. So like, it's over. Like gravy train passed. If you're into easy money now, maybe it should be a totally different thing. Maybe it's an Airbnb sublease thing scheme, you know. But it's not private label on Amazon.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. I think the question more was along the line of how do you know this product component is better than that product component? And that involves just product development and taking a really long time developing something before you even place
It means
them.
hiring a consultant maybe
Yeah.
who has that knowledge. You know, and now it's technically easier than ever. I mean, I've not done this, but if I was saying I sell a 1.5 pound ceramic dripper that I import from China, it's a coffee cup, here's an example of one of my competitors, and I pop this into AI, I bet you AI could come out with like, what are the specifications of box and protective packaging that I should have and should communicate to? I bet you could like spit that out. Like we wouldn't even have to hire a consultant anymore. So it's like now more than ever, we should do that. Here's another one most people don't do. If you have a product and you're wondering like what the packaging of your product should be that would last, you know, stand the test of time and get great reviews, look for your competitors that have been doing that and have great reviews and have stood the test of time and they're doing great. And just order it. Most people will not order a product from their top 5 competitors just because they don't want to lose the money, you know? But you can learn so much just from your competitors who are actually doing it. So I think I agree with you in the sense of that's kind of like the norm, but that's not an excuse not to be doing it. Like when you get burned, you have to say, it wasn't Amazon, it wasn't bad luck, it was like, I was lazy as you know what, and I was trying to like make a few extra dollars and it cost me. That's it. But no, great points, great questions. Any other questions anybody else has? I forgot my watch, so I gotta.
Any questions?
It could be any questions. We're in the beginner hour. Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
First,
2.
we
Nice, Ramon. Nice. Really nice. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Hey, you come right there. First question. Kevin King has his own newsletters,
Yes.
and with that type of a newsletters, how private label seller have a newsletters like that?
Are you saying?
Like
I think I love this question, but like to be clear, so you're mentioning Kevin King has a newsletter, which I'd say
that,
is one of the.
type of newsletter.
Yep.
I'm not saying just I know him because I subscribe and I know he sends email
Yep.
nearly every day.
Yep.
And I want to know, we as a private label seller, how can we have some like a email marketing sent out to?
Great question.
That is the best question I've heard ever. Usually I'm the one beating that drum to start it.
That was
Best,
totally my question.
best question ever. It's Chris's question?
Okay.
Well, that's a sign of a happy marriage then. That's how it works. No.
It's okay.
Just wink. Chris, just wink. So, okay, so your question again, though, for anyone here that didn't hear, was referencing Kevin King's newsletter, which I think is a good newsletter. And I'd say it's one of the more popular newsletters in the Amazon space. If you like that one, you check out there's one of the guys from Operators has a phenomenal newsletter that's out there. And there's John Durkitz or somebody else. There's a few out there, but the Operators one I'd say is the best one in the Amazon space. Bertrulli, what's his name? Betrulli. It's not an Operators newsletter. It's one of the people on the Operators podcast has a newsletter. That's one of the best in the Amazon space. But Kevin King has the one that's definitely the most popular. And your question though is, and it's talking about services stuff, and it's got spot in there for like sponsors, and you can make money through ads. He can pitch his services, his events, and you're saying like, why doesn't a private label brand, our own brand, why don't we have a newsletter? The first one is that going back to the reason why most brands don't is it goes back to the whole hobby origins of Amazon and how you can make a whole bunch of money for almost no effort. And if you go to an Amazon event and you start talking about marketing stuff, people will just be like, no, this is not one of those kind of things. We're just Amazon brands, right? So it's like almost this disconnect that like marketing doesn't apply to having a brand, which is insane. It's hobby thinking. So brands should, but when you go from this hobby world, you're like, what's the minimal amount of work that I can do? Usually email marketing, you're like, I learned how to find products, I learned how to deal with people across the world. I learned how to find great VAs in the Philippines, Pakistan, India, and all this other stuff. That's enough. I've done my duty. Like I've done my dues. I don't need to do anything else. Yes, you should do email marketing.
I think the problem with should is a problem of Amazon doesn't share the emails. You gotta figure out how to get them.
But that's going more into the easy thing. You're like, I'm on Amazon. If Amazon won't share the emails, then you know what? There's no way for me to get emails.
Right.
I'm absolved from that. It's like, yeah, there is. You just, how about off of Amazon, the other 95% of the world? Right, so the way to be successful as a brand, the way to be profitable as a brand, I'm gonna say towards the end of 2026, I think there's only gonna be one way. And that is branded search, okay? And I'm gonna give you a few examples as to why I believe this. What is the number one launching method that everyone's talking about on Amazon right now? The way you hear everybody say, you should get a whole bunch of influencers to create a whole bunch of videos for you on TikTok. So you have a bunch of Amazon sellers saying you should get a whole bunch of people on TikTok to create influencer videos, right? So much so that Erica's going all in on it every week learning how to do it. Madi just joined the team and she's doing it. But unpack that for a second. Why is doing a whole bunch of TikTok videos helping you on Amazon?
Branded search.
I'll tell you why. Because when I do
Brand awareness.
when I do a video on what was the cream, the whipped tallow. If I get a bunch of influencers to do a video on my on Wizards beef tallow on TikTok, and it's in a blue jar and all this stuff here, the big percentage of people to see that video on TikTok that don't feel comfortable buying it on TikTok, they go to Amazon to buy it. You with me? Mm-hmm. But the way they search on Amazon is what makes this wildly profitable. If they go to Amazon and they search whipped beef tallow, they're going to run into all the ads, so nothing changes. You with me? Stop me if you don't get this, because this is like really important.
Huge.
Right. They also don't go over there in the search bar, is it fair to say, and search for small jar with blue branding, grayish, tallowish thing in the inside. No. How do they search? They search for Wizards beef tallow. They search for the brand name of what they saw. And because they searched for the brand name, they convert on Amazon, and I'm ranking on great keywords with and without my brand, profitably. Mm-hmm. So that's one way. With email marketing, if you're adding a lot of value in your email, and in one of your emails you mention your glasses. Again, I can say the glasses. Sorry, I keep asking because a lot of people don't want to talk about it. Okay. She's got these gorgeous bee glasses that one of these days we're all going to take a group photo drinking out of, right? But these really gorgeous, like heavily bee inspired glasses. And let's say the brand name is going to be?
Modern Outlet Home Decor.
What is it?
Modern Outlet Home Decor.
Modern Outlet Home Decor. That's a mouthful for a brand, but whatever. So like Modern Outlet Home Decor. When you see it in the email newsletter, right, and say it's not linked to anything that you can click on to buy, and you're like, I want to get that. All I remember is this amazing looking thing. I need to go buy it on Amazon. You're going to go on Amazon and you're going to search for Modern Outlet Home Decor bee glass. Again, a branded search. Social media the same way. So the reason all these things that you're hearing about are working is because they're helping you get branded search conversions on Amazon. There's not going to be another profitable way to convert on Amazon, in my opinion, in 2026, or it's going to be so tiny. You're just not going to be profitable. Like, you could rank, but to what end, I don't know. You're going to need to have people searching for your brand on Amazon to be profitable. And you will win that search because it's your brand and people are searching for your brand. So with email marketing, that's what you're tapping into. The thing is, if you use the old way, if you don't fundamentally change the criteria you use to source products, you could be, I hate the word impossible, but you could be making it impossible for yourself down the line to be able to leverage that email marketing content. Let's say that I decide,
It's not about the sourcing, it's about the marketing, the branding,
let me say my point, let me see if we agree on this, right? And I know you love to disagree, that's fine, I know you love to disagree with it. But the cap on the bottom of these chairs that don't let you scratch the floor when you move them, if I source those and I started selling them, can anyone give me some, like, a whole bunch of good ideas for an email newsletter around those caps?
Yeah.
Or TikTok videos around those caps? They're not gonna be as engaging. I'm not saying you can't come up with one. You could do one dragging the chair and it scratches with a big noise, and then some that doesn't, but how many times are you gonna watch that? Versus if you had a food product with a whole bunch of recipes and different ways that you can do it. Versus if you had a product like Eddie's, how many different types of videos you could do, you know, with that type of stuff. So you should be thinking when you pick your product or your product idea, it should be a very important criteria that it lends itself very easy to content. With me?
Yes.
For content and email are two different conversations, though.
I don't believe so. I think email is content.
Email is content, so you're talking about video content.
I don't care what type of content that's created. I think it needs to be content. I do think right now, video is like, I don't even think we've hit a peak. It won't be forever, but I don't even think we've hit the peak yet. And now with AI, I think we're looking at a longer run than usual with video. So I think if video's not your jam, do email. Email's growing too. Remember, email's supposedly been dead now for 20 years. Like, so they haven't been able to kill it yet. And you own it. Unlike the platform you're on that you post that video, that could take you off. But you can own that email. So does that help answer your question?
Yes, and I have a follow-up question. Because Candace mentioned her product. Let's say we're at the stage that we want to pre-sell our private label item. Because Candace already mentioned her.
You want to do what to it?
Oh, pre-sell.
Okay.
Pre-sell. So let's say the product already on the way, but we want to pre-sell per glass. Where besides the social network like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and what's the fastest, not fastest, like effective way to pre-sell her glasses?
Okay. So
Candace, if that's okay.
Oh,
We want to pre-sell your glasses.
how many do you want?
I really want to use an example. One of the things that we talked about. Is that fine?
Which one?
The thing that I had no idea you could do something with.
Bro, you don't need to.
I'm just asking because a lot of people are sensitive about like what they do. So okay.
That's the right thing.
Okay.
You should ask.
Another thing that I'm like this close to saying, as if you want to launch a new brand, you need to do this. Like if you're ignoring this, like you're just leaving a lot of money on the table. Like you could be doing what everybody's doing now, or you could go. I like the example Tom gives. Instead of going to the puck, you could be trying to go to where the puck is going. I believe where the puck is going, especially since branded search is going to be so important, is profitably acquiring customers, right? It's something a lot of people don't talk about, but it's very doable, and it happens in a lot of other industries.
Not easy
So
though, that's for sure.
it's a new skill. I don't think it's harder than what we do,
That's
right?
fair, I guess.
Yeah. Does that mean you're saying I'm right? Is that the same
I think
thing?
it's a fair statement.
So
Not right.
I say profitably acquiring customers. The best way I know of to profitably acquire customers in our space would be, as you're thinking of the product, to create digital products in advance of you getting the product, right? A lot of people rush the production of their product, like are willing to go break out Elmer's glue and like rig stuff together just to get it to market as fast as possible. You wouldn't be in such a rush if your business was already making money. right? And if you had a digital course out there that you were selling that was related to your niche, like the person that sells courses on how to walk your cat with a leash, right? And that sells high-end cat leashes, right? They are profitably selling in their business this course that they're then in turn going to profitably acquire customers on that they can then sell their leashes to. That's where you want to be, right? So however you do get your customers, whether it's social media, whether it's a course, whether it's an email list, that's where it becomes a lot easier to pre-sell your product because you're pre-selling it to somebody. Outside of that, you pretty much just need a landing page. You need to run ads to that landing page and get people to say, yeah, I want to buy it. That's a much harder thing to do. But I'll show an example of what I would do if I was anybody here right now that had no email list.
Yeah,
And
please.
just try to get a few thousand highly relevant people, like right now.
Yeah.
Right, I'll show you that. Get ready to disagree with me, Ramon. I'm still not used to this chair. I feel like one of these days I'm going to get on here and it's going to slide back and I'm just going to...
Not wait.
You can't wait? What's that song? Hater, hater, hater. Okay. So I should be able to just get out of here. What? No. Cancel. Okay, I'm already sharing. Let's see. Just because the text box, can you let me know what's being seen on YouTube? Because I want to be able to show my screen, and I don't know if I'm doing that.
Right now, you're on standing mostly.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, so I needed to change it from here, not.
Tom had a question.
Huh?
Tom had a question since we're 30,000 feet.
Do we know a Tom?
Tom Mays.
Maze.
Maze?
What is it?
Who's that?
Must be a new seller.
Is it a new seller?
Yeah.
Hold on. What are you seeing on your end? Do you see like my screen? But you see what I see here, or you're seeing my screen?
Yes, we see your computer.
Okay, cool. All right. So, oh, but I want everybody here to see it too. Well, you can see it from here.
Maximize it if you want.
Don't tell me what to do. See what I?
That specific screen.
Can you guys tell how tech savvy I am? I'm grabbing the mouse to move stuff on my computer, and the mouse is for this computer.
Tom, if you can hear me, I'm saving you a seat.
Is that better? That didn't work. Let's go. How do I expand this? Never mind. By the time we figure this out, I'll have already showed you this. Okay, so I'm not going to click on their ad. You guys see what's going on here? The Creator Network. So ConvertKit acquired another business, and then ConvertKit rebranded themselves to Kit. ConvertKit's just an email. They're great. I use HubSpot. Just as long as you're using something that you like, I think that's fine, unless it's MailChimp. That's bad. No. But ConvertKit's great. If you're doing a lot of sales on your website, Klaviyo is probably the best way to go. But if you want to get into content and you sell stuff on your website, you want to either be on ConvertKit or HubSpot, or Kit, as they're calling it now. This is what Creator Network is. By the way, it's free to join, and you don't have to be on ConvertKit to use it. So I'm going to put Discover Creators. All right, so what we're looking at now, let's see, let's find something that I can take off with. Here we go. I'll just try to do something with this. Oh, one for you, Ramon, for creatively inspired weirdos. No, I'm just kidding. No, here we go. This is one. This person's email newsletter seems to be avoiding big pharma like the plague, and it's elderberry extracts are the This is the type of stuff that they talk about. So imagine if you have a product that either your avatar, you know, is into this kind of health stuff, or your products are stuff like this. What Creator Network does is, okay, so if you didn't have access to Creator Network, this is what your world would look like. You wanted to build an email list, you would create a lead magnet or a calculator or something else, and then you'd run ads. And the hope would be that this person downloads your thing and gets on your email list, and that you're also able to engage with them as fast as possible, and that your content is really good and it keeps them. And that not only were they interested in the lead magnet, but that they're also the type of person that likes to consume frequent content via email. It's a whole bunch of things that have to like line up for this to work. And most of the time it doesn't. So you spend a lot in that process through paid ads to do that. What the guys at ConvertKit decided to do was say, rather than you as a creator with this big email list, say in Ramon's case for canasta, playing cards. And say Ramon had a list of like tens of thousands of canasta players on his email newsletter. Rather than Candace, who has card games that she wants to sell that's not canasta. Rather than you pay all that money to Zuckerberg for you to try to build your list, you happen to know that the people that play Pinochle also play canasta. So if you're looking for people that regularly consume email content, that are into Pinochle, they're on his list. So rather than you pay Zuckerberg a whole bunch of money to build your email list slowly, how about Ramon profits from that? But the idea of you and Ramon getting in contact with each other, getting on the same page, answering each other, not scaring each other off with like, I want to make a lot of money off mine, or without Ramon breaking all the trust of his people by just showing you his list, or without giving them a bad experience by letting you create an email to go to them that's not in his voice, and like all that jazz. What this system does is say, okay, Ramon can say, I would like 75 cents for each one of my people that end up on your list, double opt-in. So you're like, I'm okay with that, as long as I don't have to pay more than $5 a day, because I want to set a budget. I don't want to spend more than $150 a month growing my list. So you connect all this on the back end of ConvertKit, and the next time somebody goes and opens their next newsletter from Ramon, like they're accustomed to seeing all the time, a dialog box pops up and says, if you're really into this email newsletter, you should probably check out this. Box is checked, one of them says Pinochle, you're right. A large percentage of the people that are into canasta play Pinochle, and they're like, yeah, hell yeah, you know, a Pinochle newsletter, I'm down with that. So they hit subscribe, you get someone on your list, they double opt in, they're a real person, they've confirmed it's going to increase your open rates, and that just keeps going, and you can just increase your budget. You never had to interact, you never had to break any rules, everything's perfect. And he's making more money off of his list than he could have been doing otherwise. And they're happier. They're getting exposed to even more newsletters that they like. That is the most rapid and affordable way to grow an email list right now. I don't know anything else like it, and everybody should be doing it. And you can just go through this and see all these different topics that people are doing. Email lists about, or you could just search, like creator type, chef. If there's anyone here that, you know, wants to get someone that is into food and recipes and that also consumes email. I'm your secret kitchen ninja. Also, if you want to create email content, looking at subscribing to some of these lists to see how they structure it and what works and what doesn't is a great way to jumpstart your own efforts. This one's called the Jalapeno Newsletter. So anybody here that's doubting that they can create a newsletter, this one's about jalapenos.
But how about this? Carlos, for somebody who's never ran an email campaign and doesn't quite understand how to engage via email, right? Clearly the answer is hire someone. How do you justify paying 75 cents per lead, let's say to get 10,000 leads, $7,500?
Oh,
And-
so
and
75 cents a lead, and how much money are you spending?
Let's say $7,500.
For 1,000?
7,500.
Yeah.
How do you psychologically convince yourself that that's money that's actually going to turn into?
Right, so at first I think the mindset has to be, how expensive is it not building an email list? So like, how expensive it is spending nothing and not building an email list? And that is probably late next year, you not being able to profitably sell anything, and that's a lot more expensive than 75 cents. The other one is, you don't just wake up one day and have spent $7,500 into building this 1,000 person email list. You can cap it at $5 a day, but let's just say you did it at 10. So you're adding 10 people per day. There is not a more profitable content method that I know of than email that's out there. You should be sitting at the low end at roughly $17 in profit per email contact that's there, assuming that you're washing people out who are not active. So $17 per contact on that list, and it costs you $75 per email blast or segmented email blast. There's nothing else that's even more profitable. But you know what? Are you going to be getting $17 worth on your first 10 emails with no email marketing experience? No. But that's what these groups are for. That's why we have the content marketing email group. That's why we have a whole bunch of people that can share notes on what they're doing with email. That's enough people saying, hey Carlos, let's bring in like an email marketing newsletter ninja in here to teach a workshop. It's getting a coach. It's like anything. It's like, I've seen you build.
What was the $17 number?
Well, for me, that's been the low end for me on conversion on emails, and then just asking a lot of other people. I know many people that say 17 is like abysmally bad, and they sit around 42, like something in the 40s. But even the people that try to go as conservative as possible seem to be in like the $15 to $20 range per email, assuming you're not going for a vanity number in this huge list and you're washing out people that are not active, which means you're not sitting at a 10,000 person contact list. You could be sitting at like an 800, but it's a really highly segmented, concentrated list.
So loop back, I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, but you said something about use HubSpot to send out or generate your or keep your list.
Yeah, I try to stay away from like which tool you should use because it gets too lost. But I don't care. The only tool I really don't like anymore, even though I started with them, was MailChimp. MailChimp, Aweber, if they're around anymore, Constant Contact. Like if you have an ice cream stand, and all you're doing is like ice cream and you just need something to send invoices, I mean, I guess MailChimp. But when you're talking about email marketing, you don't want 1,000 people that you can blast. You want 1,000 people that you know this 100 is into strawberry and this 50 is into, I don't know how you guys do it, Crumble, but like knowing someone is into cookies versus someone who's into a specific type of bacon freaking cookies and their birthday is a totally different ROI when you send that email, right? Imagine sending everyone, hey, we have this deal whenever it's your birthday, versus like sending it to the relatives of so-and-so on their birthday, and by the way, this is their favorite, you know what I mean? Like, it's very different. So like having this blob of emails versus a segmented list, and these other tools do a much better job at like automations and segmenting and smart X. That's why I recommend the higher ones. I'm not that much of a fan of Klaviyo. It's just there is not anything as good as Klaviyo when you're talking about abandoned cart emails and like pure D2C, like hard goods e-commerce stuff. But the thing is, it breaks rather fast when you get into content and need to do some like really advanced segmenting with content.
I've seen VO3 from Google. We used it.
It's an AI.
The video making, how is that going to replace content creators? That's what I've been seeing.
Let me throw it to you just in case this conversation. You said VO3 from
VO3,
Google?
yeah, the new AI for $250.
We use enterprise Google Suites. Like
No, it's a new one that I think came out last week that they do virtual videos that is going to take out.
No, it's been great. It's great with video.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything.
It's crazy what they
I've
do.
not seen anything AI video related that would replace my workflows when it comes to video.
Yeah.
for like content creation. I could totally see AI video for employee training. I could totally see AI video for, we're sorry to see you go.
Yeah.
Specific like emails tailored to the person. But
But it looks like movies. I mean,
I think,
I mean,
did you ever watch Avatar?
Yeah, it's a lot better than Avatar. Yeah.
Right, but you knew that dragon wasn't real, right?
Yeah.
So like, how realistic something looks is just like one piece, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think humans are a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Like, you could look at a picture of something that's not a very good 3D render and have no idea what a 3D render is, but kind of be like, something's off about this, and you don't convert.
Yeah.
So like, there's an element of that with video, and I really don't know how to describe it better than that.
Yeah.
I think there's a place for it.
In the future, it's gonna drown out everything.
It's gonna, yeah,
It's gonna just.
it's crazy.
Destroy all content, man.
It's $250 for 8 videos a day, $250 a month.
Right, but let me say it another way. I have no idea how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in AI. What I've seen with AI is that if you're really good at something, it can make you slightly better at the thing and allow you to produce a lot more of it.
Yeah.
But if you 3 years ago were like anti-content creation and didn't think video was worth its weight in salt, and now that you have access to things that can create things that are video related, you're just creating a lot more mediocre stuff or like slightly bad stuff that looks photorealistic.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you should be creating 8 a day of that thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you give something like that to someone who really knows what they're doing, they probably leveled up and can output more. But again, those people are not going to say, we used to charge $5K for a piece and people balked at that, and now they're going to charge, we're just going to do $50 because we use AI. Like, it's even better now, they're going to charge more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I don't see, I also kind of think that when you get a lot more of something and you flood the market with something, it becomes less important. So like, let's just say it is really good and everything gets flooded with video.
That's what I'm saying.
I think video will become less powerful.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, man? Good. I think video will become less powerful.
Exactly.
So we'll move on to something else.
Yeah. So what would that do to the influencers, to all?
I think the future is in-person community.
Yeah.
I think the more, assuming AI is as successful as everybody says, I think people are going to be starving for in-person interaction.
Yeah.
They're going to be starving for flaws.
Yeah.
You know, there are people like, wow, my God, he got that wrong. He said it wrong. That's so strange. I think in-person communities will be the next thing. I think we'll move from like video to live stream social selling, and then it'll be like people starving for in-person community.
Yeah, live streaming probably.
But I know nothing. All right, where are we at on time? Okay, cool. Any other questions before we get into like, yep.
Going back to the email marketing thing.
Sorry?
Going back to email marketing.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the actual experience, but in theory I understand for product launches I always saw email marketing or having an email list to be important, so you have direct access to your consumer, and so you're not dependent on a platform. As a consumer though, I find email lists to be quite annoying. When I become part of a list, it's too many contacts. So how much contact do you recommend? Is there a call to action in every single contact? Because you mentioned having like a figure that that you expect, right, to convert. So I'm assuming that there's a call to action per contact. And is the approach of having an email list primarily for updates about your brand and launches a proper approach, or do you think frequently contacting them is the right way to go? That was loaded. Question.
No, all great questions. I'm going to give you I'll give you like a specific formula that you could use for that. Mm-hmm. But first, I'm going to give you something generic that you need to know the avatar. You don't want just anybody on your list. If your medium is email, you only want like somebody's into your thing. you don't want to put everyone that's into your thing on email as your only thing, because they might not be into email, but they can still be into your thing, right? Their thing might, some of them might be video. So you want to not just let anyone on your email list when it comes to email marketing. You want the people that are into your thing that are into email, so that avatar. If you had a product for blind people, email might not be their thing, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that's really important. And that's something most of us skip. We're like, yeah, the avatar. But like, yeah, that kind of matters. Like, you really need to dial that in. The other one is, I would ask you, if you got on my email list, right, and I emailed you daily, no, I emailed you 3 times per day, you'd find that annoying.
100%.
Right. What if each of those emails, if you opened it and you clicked on it, deposited $500 into your account?
Of course.
Would it be annoying?
No, I'd be waiting for them.
You'd be waiting for them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep backing it down. This is a good exercise to do. Let's say I went to 1 email a day and it was $500.
I'd still be on it, yep.
And you needed to open it within a few minutes of receiving it. You'd know when it comes in and you'd open it.
Yep.
400,
Yeah, 100%.
200,
Any amount of money is free, I'll do it.
a penny.
Maybe not that.
So, but there is a number. Like, we can walk this down. That value needs to be communicated. You need to know what that value is that would get them to want to open that email and look at it. That could be in the form of a recipe. It could be in the form of a tip on how they could save money on their cable bill. It's work to figure out what that is. But once you do figure it out, that is the answer. Like, you need to do that exercise and walk it back and figure out what is that amount.
Okay.
And then that is how frequently you email them. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Nowadays, keep in mind the wild card here now, though, is they are being bombarded by everything, especially with AI. Because now the people that were not contacting them are contacting them and say, like, I send good stuff now. My emails are good. I do it with AI. My videos are good. So they're being hit from social media. They're being hit from everywhere. So, like, that value now needs to go up. So you got to figure out what that is for them. For you, we know it's above a penny. It's between a penny and 400.
I just wanted to respond with 2 things. There's a certain company, there's a product that I use, and they send stuff, and like even this morning it was like 35% off sale. So I'm happy to see it because it's saving me money. I'm like, oh, they did me a favor. I'm not buying it full price on
What about
Amazon.
5%?
Yeah, it's still just kind of like working for me. It's not like, hey, I want something from you. They're saying, I'm offering you something, which feels different. And I also feel like if it's, and everyone's different, but for me, if it's like twice a week, I'm okay with it. Once it starts to get like, I unsubscribe. Like, unless and I think the answer is also, how much do you love the product?
Yeah.
How interested are you?
It's the same thing with, like, friends that you have. Like,
Right.
You're good with having lunch or coffee with your friend once a month? What about once a week? Daily? Every morning for breakfast? Like, there's an amount. That's just how the world works. It's just everyone.
Right.
I don't want to have coffee with my wife every day.
Right.
You know, like, so.
That's wrong.
She doesn't watch this, so.
Well, right. Well, and the other thing I was gonna, were you finishing that?
No, I think so. Go on.
The other thing was, when we have the app with our product, isn't that grabbing their email as well? Isn't that app able to grab email?
With the app that we built for the.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You said something there. And by the way, we never got to Tom's question, did we? I'm going to answer this, but don't let me forget, because he's going to get here and he's going to tell me that I ignored his question at 30,000 feet while he was going down, and you know, to make it a bit more complicated, not more complicated, I find it exciting. It's work and it's something new you learn, is you find someone who's into your thing, that they're into email, and then you found out the dollar amount that makes them interested. Does that mean you should ignore everyone else? What if somebody's okay, maybe there's someone that falls at 75 at 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, and somebody else that it's important to know. You got to test it. It's work. It's like, Some people put their main image up on Amazon and that's the listing. As long as I'm not losing money, I ain't changing that image. There's some people that test the heck out of it, even though they know sometimes sales will go down a little bit, but sometimes it's wildly up, and they constantly test. Everyone's different. If you don't test, you're never gonna know. So each of those are different. People, I would assume Kevin King, I don't know, but most people I know doing email marketing or emails with me, some of you receive a lot of emails from me. Not all of you receive the same subject lines.
Really?
You don't. Not all of you receive them at the same time.
But how do you know that?
I see
No, I'm saying,
metrics.
how do you know, like, this is someone on the other end of the computer and they're either reading it or they're not?
Well,
I guess
there's several different metrics you're gonna look at. So time of day is one, like when do you open?
You could see that?
I could see, well, I can see time of day where you've never, you know what, everything we've sent Friday evening, Candace ain't opening. But Thursday mornings, she does.
But do you see that?
I see that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see it at a Candace, I can see it at a Candace level. Instead, I can just grab big swaths, like here's the chunk, the segment that fits this criteria you were just looking for. You know, someone who never opens, someone who opens monthly.
I didn't know you could see that.
Oh yeah, you can set it up.
Wait, so hold on.
The other one is this, say I have a big thing I want to put out there, like this, I'm working on this now in anticipation of in about 60 days us putting this TikTok course out there, right? And that is, I want to send this really good offer out to everyone. But if I create an amazing subject line and I send it out, I hope it's good. I got some experience in email marketing. But what if I create 6 different subject lines and I send them to each 6 to 2,000 different people in a time zone that's not my main time zone, and I look at those open rates and I'm like, this one just crushed. That's going to be the subject line I use for the rest of my emails that go into the blast. So there's a lot there that you can do to test it out. Most people will be like, yep, here's the offer, 35%, blah, and they blast it to everyone.
Right.
That's not email marketing. That's borderline spam.
But whatever, I mean, years and years ago, I used MailChimp for something, but I haven't had an email. So you're saying whatever email, tool you choose to use, that tells you all these things?
Yeah. Well, even MailChimp should tell you that.
Right.
But yeah, now, what I talked about sending different subject lines to different people based on certain rules, or if this happens, do this, you're not going to do that with anything but probably ConvertKit, or they call themselves Kit, ActiveCampaign, and HubSpot. But those are your 3 workhorses there. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you use, Zane, for MailChimp? What was it, MailChimp?
Corporate handles.
Okay.
Handles like marketing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
that franchise level.
Cool.
Even the layout is important too when they open it. If there's too many pictures or too many words.
Some of you, I don't know who here, but some of you receive emails that show graphics in them. Some of you don't. Now, I don't know for sure if you hate seeing the graphics, or I don't know if the email provider you use to read email sends anything with graphics to the promotions folder. All I know is you're not receiving graphics from me anymore. So like it's a process, just like the current business you're doing right now. Yeah. I see the somber look. Okay. Let's do Tom's question, and then we're going to get into.
It's a slightly vague. It said, heard from Kevin King's newsletter, PPC on Amazon radically changed. How is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Nothing in the Amazon PPC world has radically changed.
Okay.
I mean, I can imagine where that would be a great subject line in an email for Kevin King to use to get people to click. And radical is very subjective. So in that world, I mean, I don't know.
He'll have to further explain, I guess. When
Yeah, I look
he
at specifically Amazon PPC, but a lot of different ad stuff. I talk about it every day, and I don't know anything that has radically changed. I know Kevin King has some sponsors or some advertisers that are PPC specific, and one of them I think is Sophie Society or something, and they lead with a lot of stuff like that. Like their webinars are very, if you don't know this new change with Amazon PPC, you're going to go bankrupt. But I don't know. To each their own. Maybe his avatar works better off fear-based things. You know, I don't know. All right. That was it on questions. By the way, at the end, at 3:30ish when we wrap up, we usually network a little bit here. So anybody else has any questions or anybody that you want to talk to one-on-one, you can. I'm going to hang out for a bit. I'd love to get to know some of you. I didn't get a chance to get to know more about you yesterday. But we'll network a bit and hang out.
Oh, quick question. You mentioned like product imaging on the listing to like test different imaging. Do you do that with wholesale products as well?
Usually, when you're reselling, you don't have control to be able to do that on the listing.
If you created the listing.
I mean, yes, but what happens is if it's your brand and you're creating additional assets, pictures, images or videos, those are your assets in your company and they're yours. If you're creating them for somebody else's brand, I'd be a lot more cautious about the investment that the resources you're putting to create it than, I mean, it's not yours. Yeah, that would be if I had a crappy main image of a product that I was reselling, and I felt like if I dropped a few $100s into just a great 3D render or something, it would dramatically increase sales, like I would do that.
Would you do it if you know that you're getting the best price over everybody else? Would invest money into it?
It sounds like there's a lot more there, because if you're saying the better price than everyone else, so that means you're sharing the listing with other people. Right, so that means everyone is going to improve their sales because everyone's sharing that main image, and then you just have to weigh it out, like, is the resources that you're going to put out to lift everybody's sales still worth it to you? That's it. I think it'd be basic math. If I put in $300 here, I'm going to make an extra $100 a day. In 3 days, I've recouped my money and I'm still making an extra $100 a day. That maths to me. Yeah. All right. No more questions on the stream?
No.
This chair's a lot more comfortable when I'm in the conference room. Okay. We're gonna roast some products. Well, maybe we don't roast
There is
them.
one new question. It's just from Oduchi. Are there any upcoming events for the month of June?
For the month of June, yes. In the month of June, we're going as a group. For those of you that got the tickets to go, we're going to Boise, Idaho. I think it's the 11th through the 14th for, actually, ironically, this thing that said Creator Network.
Oh, for that.
They have an annual event called Crafting Commerce, which is very specifically to selling more of your products online using content. So highly relevant, I think, but there's like, between the Miami group and just people abroad, I think there's like a little over 15 of us that are going. And then, I think that's it, no. And then, I don't think it's gonna interfere with a Saturday, but in like one of the last few days of June, I'm going to support a friend at a bodybuilding event in New Jersey. And then we have nothing until
Barbecue?
we have August is
Oh,
our.
that's did you put the date for that yet?
I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah,
Does
we have
anyone
our-
remember what it was?
We have our annual grill and chill.
Do you remember the date offhand, or just
No,
go and meet up?
second.
You don't have to tell me now.
No, I'll look it up now.
Second week of August? Okay.
Yeah, highly recommend you guys go. I should be announcing that in the beginning and I'm just forgetting, but this is our,
Yeah, I want to put it in my calendar.
we do it every year and it celebrates our annual, I guess, anniversary, and there it is. August 9th,
August 9th. Oh, Saturday.
11-year
Okay.
anniversary. So we'll have a whole bunch of like, nobody has to bring anything for you to attend. You can bring your family. Family's always welcome, but I encourage people to bring their loved ones. Kind of lets them know this is where you disappear every Saturday. It also helps, I think, from the outside looking in, like the amount of hours we put in to start something to most people is absolutely bonkers. So it lets them see, oh wow, there's other crazy people like my husband or my wife, and that kind of puts things in perspective. So I think it's a really nice event. It's really, really hot. We pick an area that is full of shade. For those, a bunch of you have been before, yeah?
You got a water slide for kids there.
We're thinking of a water slide. The pavilion next to us is going to be Salsa Kings. So we're going to have extra tents. There's going to be music. We're actually thinking of getting a dunk.
A what?
A dunk to get somebody, you sit up there and do some prizes, and you got to throw something to
Well,
like.
you're the one gonna be dumped, right?
I'm really hoping that that's not where you guys want to go with this, but like I was thinking everyone was going to say Ramon. I suspect Tom's going to get a few votes to get in there. We're also working on towards the end of the year the rough idea is a private label versus reseller paintball competition. I'm trying to get slimmer for that, so I'm not as big of a target. We used to do, Ramon, you remember, we used to do on our annual event, we used to have a laser tag competition every year.
You were a much easier target than.
I was a 370-pound target back then. Yeah. We're gonna do PLMA in November. So we have Craft and Commerce mid-June, August the Grill and Chill Picnic, November is PLMA in Chicago, and then January is Online Seller Cruise. Yeah, pretty packed year.
Off topic, I'm very big on my reviews. I left you a Yelp review.
Yes.
And I'm like looking all over on my Google, like how do you get to Google reviews? Do you know or you don't know?
Off the top of my head, no. I'd have to see it. I can show you after.
Okay,
Yeah.
because then maybe we can all just.
Yeah,
whoever wants
that
to
always helps.
participate. Yeah.
If everybody here tries to leave a Yelp, Yelp will just like suppress a whole bunch of those Yelps, but Google's pretty lenient. with it.
Why do you feel like Yelp suppresses? I get a lot.
They do. They do.
Like in what like what do you?
They
mean?
suppress unless you're on one of their like higher paid plans.
Oh.
But
Okay.
and even then they're a little.
I just found so many great things and like.
I like Yelp.
I like Yelp a lot.
Yeah, I'm a Yelper.
I'm a Yelper too.
Yeah, I'm a Yelp. I like reviewing.
Yeah.
I like Yelp. Yelp can be a little annoying though from the business side because they definitely are very aggressive with their emails and their phone calls, and they try to get you to. I love advertising, but it's like there's no attribution here.
Right.
There's no positive ROI. I've done it for years. If you want to put a picture on your thing, get on there like $8 a month, and I'm like, for a photo, and I'm not getting any traffic. I don't know, just doesn't. Yeah, doesn't.
I like it as a customer.
I like it as a customer.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Let's pull up. Somebody can let me know on the stream. I just switched it to computer. I'm hoping what's visible is the actual computer. All right. So we're going to roast some products. And again, it's more of a tear down than a roast. If we see a whole bunch of stuff that we like, and you don't have to. What we don't want to say is anything not constructive. Like, let's avoid that product sucks. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what we're looking for, right? We're looking for.
Horrible idea.
There's also no wrong answers with these teardowns, by the way. There's like, your opinions are very valid, and I'll try to get some of those. You could just be, it makes me feel X. That's okay. And then I'll try to get that and tie it into like the marketing psychology as to why it does that and what could we do that wouldn't make you feel that way. Fair? Yeah. Unless it's Ramon's product, which we'll get to later, then you can say that sucks. Okay, here's one. This is a brand called Slinky Stove. The team is actually here though, so go extra hard, please. For starters,
Screen, the screen.
This is your street.
What?
Carlos, this is your street.
Okay, let's. See if it changes there, and then. There we go. Did it change on the?
There's a delay.
Okay. All right. So, oh wow, that actually works. Why did you say oh wow?
Me?
Yeah.
It looks cool.
It looks cool?
Yeah.
What about it looks cool? The fire?
The fire, yeah.
Okay, so the product, do you know which product we're talking about here?
No?
I know.
So the fire looks cool. Okay, specifically, we're talking about Slinky Stove. I'm actually really not liking these results.
Don't
But
pick
we'll-
the ad, man, come on.
Huh?
Be nice. Don't pick the ad.
Well, no, actually, this is actually a roast of me, and I want to send some messages. So we just did a branded search. Love this. Guess what? The brand came up. I like to see that. Love this. Thank God, otherwise I would pause everything because I'd need to send some messages. At least we came up for the first ad. What I'm not loving is how much exposure these other brands are getting on that brand name. Fortunately, in this case, anybody that's looking for something cool, I don't think would buy this. I think we're all fair to say this one next to this one.
I think that's the whole world of branded search. If somebody types Linky stove, they already know what they want.
Why is it not showing there? It's not showing.
You just did.
Oh, it's not showing. Oh, here we go. Look at me diagnosing techie issues. There we go. There we go. So now that is what's seen, and we can go back over here. Yeah, so finish what you were saying, Ramon. That's the whole world of branded
Branded
search.
search.
Right, so somebody comes in here looking for Slinky Stove, they see it, and it's number one right here. So if they saw an ad on TikTok or a YouTube video or something like that, what's the chances that they're not going here? Very low.
Correct.
Yeah. They're not all of a sudden after being wowed by this saying, yeah, we want some generic looking thing that no one's gonna give us compliments on, right? So,
The only thing I would comment on is that all of them have flames, which is unavoidable probably,
okay, what?
but it blends in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's one that I'm really curious to see if you guys can do. And I'm gonna go here because I don't want to give anything else away.
Carlos, if you don't have extension installed, it will just move all the images to the top, so it'll be 4 images across the top.
Yeah.
I don't know how to uninstall the extensions.
You can turn them on.
How?
The little puzzle piece on the top right that one, and then uncheck the ones, just unpin them, just, yeah. And then refresh the page. Sure.
Yeah, extensions. It's on the line. Wow.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is. Like the computer in front.
What?
There is an extension that lets you talk.
Yeah, don't toggle off Zoom though. You want Zoom.
I don't want Zoom. I'm done with Zoom.
All right.
And then refresh.
Refresh the page. So that's what it would look like to you.
Yes. I would buy that course. What, so you know which product we're talking about?
Oh,
Whatever. What do you think the product does? So that's something I like to ask myself when I look at the product. Like what,
I would say it looks like a barbecue.
it looks like a
Yeah.
barbecue. You know where we're going, so anybody that was as into the advanced breakfast, don't give this part away. You know, yeah, it looks like a barbecue, right?
Marshmallows.
Anything unique about this at all in your eyes?
Portable.
Why is it portable?
Small.
It's small? You think it's smaller compared to the other products?
Compared to a regular barbecue.
Compared to like a Weber type of,
It's good for camping.
so a camping grill?
looks like it's a tabletop fire pit, like fire.
Okay.
I don't see anything that would be used for like on the ground, so it might be like a tabletop.
How big do you think it is?
Like a
18
foot and a half tall?
23 inches,
Yeah.
it says right there.
This is what difference?
It says 23 inches, but no one know to look. So that just shows you people don't read. Okay, let's click into it a little more. I don't want to give it away yet. And I'm not going to click on the ad, otherwise you might throw something at me. Here we go. Anything else coming to you that this, anything super unique about this product still that you want to, before I just say it?
Wait, oh, smokeless, but there's fire.
Okay, you want to, but does anyone know what smokeless means?
Well, it's supposed to mean there's no smoke in the house, right? Fire, but no smoke.
Fire but no smoke. Can you talk about what smokeless is?
Smoke-free.
Right?
What?
No, but it's a phenomenal call out because that's, I don't think most people realize that. Smoke-free and smokeless is different. Can you say what the difference is?
Well, smokeless is less smoke, smoke-free is no smoke.
Might be a bad review there, right?
We all have smoke, it's just smokeless.
Started this in my living room, very smoky.
I've had people write, there was smoke, like it's smokeless, whenever you have a fire, you have some.
Okay, so we're seeing a lot more about this page before we see it on mobile. And I know I'm being a little cagey on this one, but this really matters.
This is the biggest problem.
Yeah. This is the major problem going on right now with the product. Feel free to read it. I know you wouldn't normally read the title, but like really examine this. There's something like super obvious that you're not seeing.
Well, it's not a pit.
So it's not a pit. It says solo pits.
Well, the smokeless fire pit, that's like, I don't know, well, okay, yeah. For outdoor
Right, but that's what we're trying to see if they,
Not propane.
It's not
wood
obvious.
burning.
huh?
Not propane, it's wood burning.
It is, are you sharing what the new thing is gonna do yet or no?
Well, here we are at.
Well, we're also live streaming, I just wanna know, because he just asked something, and I don't know. Okay, so,
We're gonna have a propane version, but
yeah, this one is wood burning, right? But that's still not, but it's, yeah, so it's wood burning, you see that, that's good. But anything else, and I'm just gonna say it, because I don't wanna like drag you guys too hard on this. That's actually the most unique thing about this product.
What?
It's a last one.
It collapses.
I saw foldable, yeah.
Right. The product collapses into like a disc, if you will. Right. But you're saying it should be what?
Yeah, I would say, you should, like, I didn't even really notice the alpha of wood burning, because I said, I read the smokeless fire pit, and then I went straight down to the portable combat, all the attributes. That collapsible should be like right there, like with portable or something. That should
Right.
be
So the number one unique selling proposition of the product should be a lot closer to the front of the title. I think that's a good call out. And instead, it's smokeless, which some people find confusing. Right. So you think it should be collapsible fire pit.
It's just being collapsible
collapsible smokeless fire pit, collapsible fire pit.
Collapsible portable.
Collapsible, isn't that redundant? Collapsible is what makes it portable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
People really care about the smoke. Is that a thing for it?
The reason why it's smokeless is because it's one of the #1 search terms.
What makes this
So is it smokeless?
Yeah.
It is, this is more smokeless, but there's been a lot of advertisement with Solo Stove and other brands about their whole niche, about it being the secondary burn, which is smokeless. But with this, with the concentric rings, this adds more airflow, so it makes it more smokeless. Or less.
So let's go with this one first. So this is a major flaw of the product, not the product, but a major flaw like the current standing of the product, that if we were tearing it, and by the way, this is something that's already being addressed, but how it wasn't the first thing done is definitely roast worthy. It's collapsible. Nothing in this main image. We know that people don't read, so in a perfect world, the fact that it said that on this card, right? The fact that it said that in the card would be enough, but it actually doesn't say collapsible in the actual title. But what would you do to communicate that this thing was collapsible visually? Because trust me, people don't read. Just blur, you guys can blurt it out.
Just show a picture of someone maybe carrying it folded.
Yeah, to overlay.
Right, so if you're carrying it folded, it comes with a really cool bag,
Right.
but does that indicate that the person has a bag?
Well, it's just being collapsed on the side. Like,
Yeah, they do overlay, photo overlay.
So you'd have a collapsed version of it sitting next to the product, okay?
Maybe like in steps 1, 2, 3, they're holding it collapsed, then they're opening it, then that.
All in the main image, or that's more of a secondary image?
I don't know.
It's in the
I mean,
sec-
you
it's in
can't.
the secondary image.
Actually,
Yeah, secondary, yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a better main
Yeah, that-
idea.
in the main image.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know, because then, I don't know.
It doesn't look bad, the main image, because it's in the second one. But
What is in the main selling point, not being
The
shown?
main selling thing on this, the reason it
Yeah.
is unique
Right.
is the fact that it can do that.
Is Slinky a patent or trademark term?
Even if you wanna do the
I'm sure it's, I'm really hoping it's trademarked.
It's a trade.
It's a good product, though. It's true.
Yeah.
It's a good product. Looks good.
So the fix here, what we believe, and again, this is one of those ones that if you read Amazon's terms of service to the letter,
You can't have that sign there. Clearly, you got away with it.
right?
Got
So
what's
if you read Amazon's terms of service to the letter, the fact that this little placard here is there is against terms of service. What bothers me most about it,
Wait, what is against?
this is against terms of service,
Gotcha.
right? But again, I just want to, I think it's important just for anyone that has not. We'll show the greatest offender. So,
This dooley's everywhere.
yeah. You know, the real box doesn't say this on the side. It definitely doesn't come with a ribbon. There's some things you can do. It doesn't come with this glass. You know, a lot of this stuff's there. So there are some optimization techniques that you can get away with using. All of these are technically against terms of service. My biggest issue with this one is it's actually wildly ineffective. You know, portable, collapsible, smokeless. And the 17-inch is 17 inches redundant. I mean, that's the variable you're on. Portable, collapsible, smokeless. I would have thought that it was repeating words that were here, but in this case, collapsible is not even repeated, and that's the main one you want. Thank God people don't need to spell collapsible, otherwise this brand would be going for bankruptcy. What it looks like we're going to do, and what I think is a good idea, is arrows showing the the turning and the collapsing action of what the product can do, and the removing of this card. But that would be one way to visually show it. It's a good idea, any of the keywords that are important for your product, that you also visually show, so where somebody can read it or instantly visually see it. If you have a lot of different keywords for your product, you can't sometimes get away with putting all of them into the main image, and then you just pick like your top one or two. Three is a lot, to see if you can get away with that. Anything else that you think? Let's look at some of the secondary images. Even the secondary image shows more of like the size of this thing. I wonder if over here in the main image something can be added that shows the scale of this thing, like a visual. Like you see a lot of times somebody has a product and there's like a nickel or a quarter lying in it that lets you to clearly see, like everyone kind of knows what's the size of this compared to. But here, like a skewer, I don't know, like what are some things that can be added here that everyone kind of like knows the size of, that instantly visually show the scale of this thing in this position? You know, I've not seen the packaging, the bag that it comes in, because when we got it, it immediately got passed off for the videos. But I wonder if it's, like, I've seen this with like hookahs. Hookah bags, hookah carrying cases are horrible. They rip, the zipper falls apart immediately, they're like really low quality. So you have a low quality bag or carrying case for your product, you don't want to show it. But if you took the time to have a really nice, heavy duty, you know, stand the test of time case, then it makes sense to show it. That's a big value add. It's kind of like, where's this thing gonna go when I'm not using it? So I would consider, if the bag is really nice, maybe showing the bag here. So you're visually showing this thing has a carrying case that it comes in. Maybe the carrying case open, showing it collapsed, slid into the carrying case. So it's all, you're still able to keep the image clean.
How heavy is this pen?
Weight?
The weight, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't show that in the main image, but that's a good question. How much does it weigh? How much does a 17 weigh?
17 weighs 12 pounds.
12 pounds. Well, that's not bad.
It's like a pizza.
Like a pizza. That's what. Good one.
You could do a log with an axe, and it may be next to it.
So a 17-inch, 12-pound collapsible stainless steel stove grill for $159 that you cannot get anywhere else. Too low or too high? Would you? We'll try not to think of you buying it, because 119 might be better in that case, but
119 is better, but I think as far as the seller goes, that price is good. Yeah, seller.
you don't like 199?
Huh?
You don't like 199? You think you're overpaying at 199? Even though there's nothing else like this on the market?
I feel like I'm being a steal if I'm paying $159.99. I won't think about it too much.
Anybody else?
I feel like for the size, it's not a good value. Because I have a fire pit in our backyard, it's pretty big. And this is just like more of a tabletop.
How often do you load it up into the car to go on a picnic with the family?
True. Yeah, this is probably different.
Yeah, this is a niche. It should be like an every Home Depot.
Yeah.
Because when you can't be moving around, you need something like this, like that collapse. It's affordable for me, I think.
Or like,
I think 200 is like be a fair price, but obviously when you see that 20% off, obviously it's the trigger to buy. For me, I guess it all depends on the lifestyle, the customer.
So what's 225 with $25 off?
I mean, you're talking about $50 off. I mean, that's obviously more.
So 250 with $50 off?
But But you see what the numbers are doing, that's 50 because it is in the 150 range, but really it's $40, but just because we have the $59.99.
Does it come with any accessories like charcoal holder or something like that?
Sorry?
I'm saying, does it come with any accessories like charcoal holder? Because if you're gonna put it in the car, you need to carry charcoal, and for you, it doesn't matter whether you're gonna take the collapsible or just regular fire pit, just get to the beach.
It's wood burning.
I think this is a. Oh, it does have a poker.
How long have you been selling this product on Amazon?
Since November.
November? Was it like you know, like that other product with a bowl during the holiday hours?
The what?
Like the other product, what is it? The other product? The gift bowl?
Oh, no, I didn't have anything to sell because
Did it do good during the holidays?
we sold out 700 units on the first month and a half.
Great.
This is the first what?
First month and a half, we sold out.
With that picture?
It was worse than that.
Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Like,
Was it discounted or was that the same price?
It was a little, what was it?
I wanna know if you're a
It was a little
wholesale.
bit.
I want you to wholesale.
The 17?
Give me the top.
The 23 was one something. It was a little
Kind
low,
of.
the prices.
I'm kind of hurt that none of you creators here chose to look at this. No influencer videos yet here. Good opportunity for 5 people to squeeze in, especially since we're gonna get this thing moving. Anybody looking for a good Amazon influencer opportunity, you can get the 7-inch, do a review on it
That's a tabletop.
with a video, and your video will show across all 3 of these variations as an influencer video, and you make some nice commissions off that.
I guess on topic of that, I want to say something about the Amazon info. So I know it's in the group a lot, and people are talking about they didn't get accepted or this or that. So I got accepted, and once you do an Amazon influencer video, and I do a lot of them, they go okay, and it'll be pending, and it doesn't mean it's getting on the carousel. It doesn't mean, it could just go into the air. So I know for me, I'm actually getting pretty good at like so now I'm like, the other day, I'm like, okay, I went back, I changed my thumbnail, I changed what it says, and they're all getting on the carousel. So just the thing is like, some people think like, oh, I got accepted. You could put 100 videos and they
make
can go,
nothing.
great, and 2 of them can get on the page.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
What are the factors for it, you know, right?
Say that again?
What are the factors that you consider?
I don't know. There could be so many people reviewing them, and maybe one likes yours and one doesn't. But like, you have to look down and maybe see the ones that are getting accepted. Maybe they wrote something different. But like, it doesn't just, oh, I'm an influencer, and it doesn't happen like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So the
Pretty.
$1 million question is how to show this product that's an invention, an actual new invention that's patented, it has several patents, and how to distinguish it from the other fire goods when you compare it to this one.
So the first wildly obvious one is, and most people who have patents and have a new product, they don't have the luxury of doing this. And like, say you have a coffee grinder and your patents are the positioning of the ceramic burr inside the coffee grinder. You're not going to be able to visually show that off in the main image. And if you can't visually show it off in the main image, you're...
And that might be a design for this utility.
Right. So like, in this case, your invention can be shown in the main image in that the concentric twisting compression arrows, like that happens. People in the AC space deal with that a lot. They show like the circulation of air.
Like a transparent image?
Well, you can show those arrows going around on this image. Like you totally can
Like the arrows with like wind maybe, right?
Right, but almost like turning and compressing down next to the product, slid inside of its packaging. That's pretty easy to do. And I would say before next week, you're already gonna see that on the main image, and no doubt that's gonna help. That means in search, this is gonna be very obvious as to what this is to people looking at it. So like that's number one. Like you have
Put the
a,
word collapsible in the bottom rung there, as if it was part of the product itself, but it's just.
yeah, I would put the word collapsible overlapping the product so people can see it. I'd get rid of this card. This orange is actually taking away from the hero product. So like the hierarchy of how this is set up, it's too distracting. It's taking away from this product. But that'll go.
I mean, I think for me also, if this is a new product, I want to make sure people know that it's the only, that it's patented, you know, like to your point, it's like, I would write that it's unique. There's nothing else like this, because for me, I want something that's unique. I want,
They don't let us put a patent stamp on the image.
but what about, but you can still say unique design, right? Because
It's a unique invention, but it's not a design. You change the design, you get a design patent, but this is an actual, so
there you go. So I think this, for me, I would want to know that this is, I don't need to keep looking, because wherever I come, I'm gonna find this. This is it. And I think the other thing that stopped me as well here is I would want to look, I always look at reviews. So for me, like what got you 4.2 versus higher?
Only some of the competitors, we had like 5 Chinese companies imitating us, but one of the things was the edges. We're coming out with a new version now that has rounded edges on it. So it's selling this inventory, and we're also coming out with propane dual use, so we can use the wood and the propane version.
So what was the complaint that?
The edges, I think,
Was it
and,
too sharp?
the quality, it came with some like burrs on it, or the way they finished it. But now we have new machinery to do the finishing better and to roll the edges on the machinery.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a thing that's coming up, that came up a lot in the reviews, I would definitely address it in A+ content or something like that. Yeah, that's why it's my product. I had bad lights at the beginning, changed manufacturer, and I made sure that they knew about it, and the A+ content was pretty obvious. So,
Carlos, the actual logo shows the motion, but it's hard to see the logo on the dark side of the image.
Right.
If you zoom in, you actually see that it shows.
It tries to show it.
Yeah, all you see is slow when you look at it from far. It's nice to see
Yeah.
the name a little more prominent.
Yeah, this is a bit confusing here.
And there's that GIF image that's on the store that can show them demonstrate how it functions. with,
Yeah, so-
animation.
So that's got to be huge. Just doing that in the main image, showing like how the product works. To your question, the other way is going to be there's almost like an element anytime you're dealing with a new. In this case, there's existing search terms for your type of product, so that's pretty important. But in this case, and that's why we started creating some videos already. But like, I'd get with some of these Amazon influencers here and like get the product in their hand, because apart from, people want to see how this thing works. You have the brand videos, which most people take with a grain of salt. Like, you're not going to point out anything that is contrary to your product being the best things. This helps, but there's a lot more videos that can show up on this listing from people demonstrating.
Is there a way to integrate YouTube videos into this?
No.
There's a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah, no, but you get this, you kind of want that amateur vibe of somebody getting it, almost doing you don't even need something that complicated. Like, you don't need to show them actually grilling it. Like, your main thing is, this is how this product is different. I would have them here. And then just because you have, this is kind of going more into marketing and less about like listing teardown, but when you have a product like yours, you want to leverage the heck out of this.
that's awesome. I mean,
These posts. I mean, this is cool. I mean, this gets somebody's attention and lets them know it's outside. I think this is a bit of a waste. Like, this looks like stuff they would have already seen on the A+ and probably your secondary. But lifestyle type stuff, I don't see any video here. You're allowed to put vertical video in posts, and they really stand out. So I'd take advantage of this posts area. Stay away from things that look too much like stock. I don't know if this one is, but it does seem to be like stock. Oh, that's Tropical Bark. And you got a great photographer.
You just pointed out, that's a good product too for like tailgating.
Yeah. Tailgating, RVs. Yeah, tailgating. I do a whole bunch of tailgate stuff. Like find a meetup group on tailgaters. You know, there's someone in our group, Ricky. He's at all those Miami tailgates. Yeah, I think I don't know if you've met Ricky in the breakfast, but like he comes through every now and then. He's got his brand is Creations by Natalie, but his thing is tailgates. Like he just loves those tailgates. You get that out there. Like get that.
Did you manage to put the sports team logo on it?
Yeah, I mean, once you bump up sales a tiny bit more, I'd go to that licensing show and start getting some really cool licensing stuff that you could put on this. All right, more of the actual listing. So I think it's fair to say the main image needs to be reworked a lot. All the images really. Title needs to be reworked.
See, nobody understood what it was.
Nobody.
Nobody. So everybody that looks at it, they don't know. They see there's Solo Scope started a lot of environments, but the Chinese company stepped in, and nobody can distinguish this from the other. So there's a lot of environments that are kind of like this.
Carlos,
that they think like this.
easy should go in the main listing.
Easy.
Easy, portable.
Yeah.
But just the cost.
I don't think smokeless should be first.
It has a lot more work in it.
But I would do collapsible outdoor portable fire pit, something like that. Yeah.
What is the cost?
The COGS,
If you look at the
in China,
rufus
is about
questions,
$50, $60 for 23, 43.
if you look at the rufus questions in the lower left.
Yeah.
Everything like landed?
No, not that. FOB in China.
Yeah. The other thing.
Landed is like another, less than $10.
The other thing here that I'm personally not a fan of, especially for like when you're almost trying to re-rank a product, is compact and foldable design for camping, bonfires, tiny cabin, ventless burn, solo pits, tailgate, backyard. Like I think that's too much to go at once. I would pick like one of these and go all in and dominate on it, and then start bolting keywords on.
My eyes kept going to other products with like more fire. My eyes didn't go to this. I see the others were like, wow, we got fire.
Yeah, more fire, different fire, so fire that gets your attention. You might want to try it up and put blue flames. I don't know. Somebody like, what is the blue flame? You know what I mean? Like.
And our target was more the RV engine, because that's just, we created a story, but what we noticed is that it's not only the RVs, it's a lot of people, normal people have a backyard and want to work with fire pit that they clear away in a shed or a closet or something.
Once you rank on those keywords, you don't really need to become the title. Once you
Right.
on them, you don't really need to become the title. You can track them to make sure that you have a fit, but you don't need that long title at some point. At some point.
Yeah.
We indexed over 1,000 words like in 2 months.
Your bullets, obviously I know this is something that's already being worked on, just since moving on from the main image. I hate them. I like the structure. I like the capital letters emphasizing the beginning of each bullet, but those capital letters are not calling out, again, the main things that someone's looking for. If they're looking, they're like, ironically, well, it does say collapsible here. Yeah, they're written more like a social media post, more than a fire pit. It's a lifestyle evolution. That's more of like a brand story piece and less about something as important as bullets. But I know those are already being worked on. It's hard to do too much keyword feedback when we're not.
I was going to give you feedback is you spend way too much time, too many images in the main image stack explaining how the product works, and you need more lifestyle there. I would say clearly you have a problem explaining to people that it's a collapsible stove. So you need to spend at least an image doing that. But after that, I would consider putting in more lifestyle to the third image, third point, because ultimately it's all about the customer seeing themselves with, really in the product than explaining what the product is. You need your avatar to see themselves using it, rather than this is what it does and this is what it measures and this is how
It's
it
too
looks
technical to show
like.
people.
Way too technical. I would probably add a third. You need an image to explain because it's unique and you can't explain it on an image. At the third one, lifestyle. That's what I would do.
So you I think something else should be included, because originally it was for EVs, wasn't it? You don't have EV anywhere in the main listing. EV lifestyle. RV, sorry, RV.
The fourth image there is an RV, right? Or it's lifestyle.
I think, for example, image 2 and 3, you can put them together. You can put them together. And I don't know about the fourth one. I don't know what you know with the fourth one there. Oh, look at it.
Hold up. GC was messaging me something.
Image 2, 3, and 4, I would try to figure out how to put them all together. And then start.
2, 3, and 4, I agree.
I would try to figure out how to put them together and then start putting lifestyles right after that.
And this is stock. This is like a bad,
That's it,
yeah. That's not good.
Are you only selling here in USA, or you have
That's
like
not
a
good.
Canada? Do you have a like Canadian store, or you just here in the US?
We have what's it called? Remote fulfillment.
Because I think this type of stuff will be like a cooler place, like in Canada.
The thing is that Canada has like only like 30 million people. So the
That's a
market
big
is
market.
it's not
It's a
big.
big market. Don't.
And then the shipping over there is very expensive. We have to do.
Well, at least there's a bit of good news. Your product is frequently bought together with RV toilet seal lube and liquefied RV toilet treatment, black holding tank digester.
Yeah, the owner of that is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
There's an expectation there.
So at least there's that.
Good stuff there.
I'm wondering if this doubles as a collapsible porta potty. Oh, do we have something there? Let's see. Here we go. This could be a lot better. I would defer to I'm not good at giving design advice. I'm good at giving that will convert, that won't convert, and why. I don't like, forget watching the video. I feel like when you're looking at this, I don't like how dark
I was just gonna
this
say it's
is.
dark.
This product is not used inside. I know it could be used at night, but even at night, there's a lot of nature there. There's a lot of like beautiful stuff about the world and outside. This is kind of like, this is what I would expect on a photo like this if you got a photographer to shut off all the lights and control the lights and you wanted a big contrast on color, or is this like the opposite of what you want to see with this? And then this grass right here is just like, is this out of something out of like Pac-Man?
It's a little gothic.
Yeah, but I even like Gothic, so it's like, this doesn't jive with me at all. I'm not sure what was going on here. Again,
And don't we want to see the fire burning?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're going for, this is the porta potty vibe.
Oh, okay, right, got it.
No, lot, too much to Ramon's point, more lifestyle. This is, I feel like I'm reading a book at this point.
Hey, you agree with me?
Partially. Yeah, and this, like again, this is kind of like, okay, we have this here. I guess these are the 3 different sizes, or these are the 3 different levels of one size.
That's the 3 different levels of one.
Right, and then what's this supposed to communicate? We showed the sizes, so it's like, what new information are we interjecting here? what's going on here.
This one, the image is flawed up there, that you see?
Yeah, but it's like, again, a lot of this can be condensed if it was a good idea to show these 3 different sizes, and it's not. So this is like a huge waste of space. At least there's collapsible fire pits, but again, a lot, too much emphasis. There's no water here? Grab one out of the fridge. I must have forgot to order water. Sorry. Anybody want water?
No.
You can't just pop into the fridge. I forgot to bring it out. Sorry, guys. No, I have some. Thank you. Too much faith has been placed in people in the U.S. reading abilities in this listing, and not enough on the visual. Like, for example, this shows collapsible fire pits. Why isn't this thing collapsing? Like, if the goal of this section is collapsing, I'm assuming because that's what this header says, why isn't this collapsing? Too much of this through the listing. Again, more of these infographics of firewood, wood pellet, charcoal. This could be condensed. I like this as a slogan. Your camping partner.
Yeah, I like that.
This is nice.
Hey, you know,
Oh, is this it? Yeah, this is, I figure I like that one. Much better. I wish this product could be shown better.
Should be tailgating.
Okay.
I'm curious, is there a competitor at all? Because I'd be curious to see what their pictures look like, right? No competitor, okay.
Well, the closest would be Solo Stove, but it doesn't collapse.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like you're going for the right idea here. Maybe,
But Amazon doesn't see, that's the other problem, Amazon doesn't see us as a unique product, it sees us the same as all the other.
You're not gonna change that. You're not gonna change that.
By the way, go back one, Carlos. I was just gonna say, when you have a dark one, why don't you make it just more like sunset-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna go for it. I get wanting to show a night scene, but this doesn't help the product.
No.
I mean, the hero here is not the product, the hero here is the fire in this.
I think tailgating would be better. It shows
Yeah.
more people, right? More exposure. Maybe push more tailgating. You
Yep.
change it with the seasons. Football, then basketball.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
baseball.
From the brand. This is just
Yeah.
badly organized.
Two people,
Definitely.
3 people.
Yeah.
Therefore, people walking by, they'll see the fire thing and they'll probably.
This is just badly organized, this brand story here.
Yeah.
It's redundant at this point.
Yeah.
I thought this was a volcano for a second. This is a nice shot showing the 3.
I think we get more keywords.
This 23, 17, and 7 looks like the font to me that's used for television sets and computer screens to show like how big the screen is. I wonder if there's like a more adventurous font. Too dark. Yeah, okay. You survived, man. Basically change everything.
Solo Store one, the website, or the Amazon page? So they don't have the tag.
They don't have the tag, and they also don't need to show the arrows because it's not collapsible. But look at this, the scale we were talking about. That's actually a great way to show the scale here. More lifestyle.
They didn't jump into lifestyle.
Yeah. This is a lot better when you're talking about, I guess, smokeless, or what was it, showing how.
That's nice.
This is very nice.
Very nice. In the back, that's good, yeah.
Yep.
You don't have a picture of anybody carrying?
Could you use that as a reference? So maybe
There is a
something?
picture of somebody carrying the car?
There's one somewhere, but maybe it's the video.
No, that picture.
It's on YouTube.
Why not?
We can take the image from YouTube.
Depends whose image it is.
Yeah, it's one of, it's like an influencer that we work with.
Yeah. Okay. Let's jump into another product. What do I search?
What are the final thoughts of that? It sounds
Yeah.
What are the final thoughts? Have you changed everything?
Colorado.
So let's start with the name. Or
What? It's up to Carlos. That's all it Carlos.
No pressure, Carlos.
No pressure. That's easy.
what is this game about?
Mexicans.
Mexicans. Comes with a hat. Coloring book. We do know that it's new.
I added that there. That doesn't come with that sticker, but I added it to.
Yeah. First of all, obviously it's in Spanish. Still though, I think a good test, even if something is written in Spanish, if you don't know what the product is, then that means it's relying too heavily on text. But take some guesses, like what do you think's inside this box? Cards. Thank God, you guys give me a panic attack. Cards. Flashcards?
Color.
Colored cards. I think it's obvious the cards are probably looking like this. Hardest game I've ever played in my life. Obviously, I rank it on a list of games.
Your wife picks?
My wife absolutely loves the game, obviously, which is my wife. I think it's the best game ever created. Ever.
Are you being serious?
I swear to God.
What is this? What is it?
My wife and I went on our first trip somewhere.
Yeah.
We went to the new theme park, Epic,
Uh-huh.
and we're with a whole bunch of friends from.
Wait, recently?
Yeah.
Oh, that new one, it's
Yeah, we got in before it officially opened.
Get out of here.
Yeah, before it officially opened, we got in, went with a group of friends from Salsa Kings.
I saw something, it was like, why is it all adults? See, there you go.
Yeah. And you'd think we'd be like partying. We get back to it at like this Airbnb, we're all hanging out and playing, and I'm like, where's my wife? And she's stopping people, showing, trying to teach them how to play Colorazo.
What is it?
It's horrible. I'm just kidding.
What?
It's obvious, you obviously love it, or it's not your thing.
What is it?
It's a brain game. I would call it a brain game.
Okay, but like,
Brain game, it's a card game.
This thing hurts my brain. It hurts me calling it a brain game. It's like where Clue meets Memory.
okay, but
meets.
that's fun, yeah.
How would you describe it, Ramon, your game?
Oh, that's your game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fast-paced game, that's all. Fast-paced card game.
Ryan, you had a question.
Really? Oh, what is the question? Stand up, please, and let us know. I'm just kidding.
It's funny that everything is in Spanish and it says new.
But it says new in English.
That's what I was pointing out. I was like, but it says new. Yeah, that's great. No, nuevo.
Initially, I thought it was a juice box because I mistook Fuego for Yugo.
Oh,
And it looked like, to me, it looked like a juice box.
Well, your wife would heard it.
oh, she would play this forever. Yeah, she is addicted to the game. They actually went out stalking people at the mall. Not stalking, stopping people at the mall to play the game, and it's if you get into it and play, it looks like it really sucks you in. Anyhow, that's besides the point.
It's easy, but then it says it's hard.
Well, look, I purchased this, so it must be good.
It says easy but hard. Easy to learn.
Easy to learn. For anyone who wants to says easy to learn, difficult to win. To dominate to win. Okay. But anyhow, so, okay, that's the first test you look at. You really want to get a look. I want to make sure I'm not clicking on an ad. I'm not.
How many people are here?
Okay. So here we go. Not a whole bunch new there. I like that it's taking up a lot of space in the main image. It's actually taking up more space in the main image than Slinky Stove, like by percentage, and it's obviously much smaller. So that's really good, not leaving a lot of extra white space. I'm assuming he's tested this, but show don't tell is usually the next thing you want to look at. If you're dealing with a cream, show like a cream swipe. If you're dealing with a strawberry protein powder, show a scoop of the strawberry powder and a strawberry, so show, don't tell. In this case, it's kind of showing the cards on the packaging, but you might be wondering, do the cards really look like that, or is that a different part of the game? So I think maybe fanning some of those cards out or showing those cards could be an option. I don't know if you've already tested that.
You mean like the product box?
Outside of the box?
Oh, outside of the box in the main image.
In the main image?
I haven't tested.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely worth testing. Maybe a pick foo, looking at some other card games and see like who showed the box with the cards out. Are any of them doing really good and modeling that format? I wasn't anticipating the title in Spanish, but you've tried to get away with putting. Are you intentionally sticking the brand name out there, or were you unable to remove it? Like, what was the?
I mean, games is different, right? You got Juego de Mesa en Español, and the name of the game is important.
Correct. So what do you guys think? You think the majority of the time that somebody's looking, where do you think the majority of the sales for this game come from? Do you think it comes from a paid ad? Do you think it comes from somebody looking for colorazo?
If I was good enough, hopefully Colorado, but the reality is it's Juego de Mesa en Español.
It's Juego de Mesa en Español. So which is board games in Spanish. Spanish board games. So do you think it would be better to lead with Spanish board games than brand dash Spanish board games? I would say so if it's your number one thing. I didn't know if it was intentional, because we just talked a lot about brand search and the importance of it, and if you're trying to do a bunch of stuff, then sticking it first, I think is a better play. I love ripping the year listing. I like that he put, well actually, you put Juego de Mesa en Español, so board games, Spanish board games, for adults and family. Part of me loves that you also wrote it in English, but if that's the case and the game is actually, I know the game is actually in Spanish, the card game is in Spanish, is that not just wasted space now?
It's another keyword, another important keyword.
Right, but do you want to put it in the title?
I should check into that.
Yeah, it's repeating in a different language, Spanish card game for adults. It doesn't even say Spanish board game.
It's not a board game, it's a card game.
Right.
There's no board. You take it.
How do you learn what the game is?
Is it collapsible?
If it's not collapsible.
The same question.
Well, here's the test. What do you think about 1197?
That's too low.
Too low.
Yeah.
Where should it be?
For a card game.
I mean, no, for to sell on Amazon.
$14.99.
To survive on Amazon, yes.
I thought $14.99 or something.
$14.99.
Something like that.
Is that a big difference in
Yeah.
survival from 1197?
1999.
1999.
Okay, 1997.
1997. I'm very Team Candace on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Is it what? You going for volume?
Yeah, that's
I think if you're in the card game, you're always hoping for volume.
card games are expensive.
Hey, when will you make the 2 series, like a Paul and Part 2, make that as a bundle, and they sell for like $29.99?
You share what your cogs are or no?
Yeah, $2.
Under $2?
For the first run, less for the second.
Wait, where's this made? Are you afraid to go higher?
I I'm not afraid. I started at $9.99 and it broke even for the first month, and now I'm $11.97. But velocity didn't go down, so I would test higher.
50 bought this month, 49 are my wife. The bullet point structure is a clinic on what not to do with bullets. This is even with the breakdown in bullets, it's just a big blob of stuff to read. Consider that most people shop on mobile. And when you're going through it, getting that quick call out as to which one this is about and why they should buy it in capital letters in the beginning is just the conversion difference on that is pretty significant.
So would you say like the first sentence before the two dots, I should make it in caps?
Do you mean like that first bullet where it says el juego que te convierte?
Right.
No, I would figure out like what is the conversion phrase that best supports that bullet and start it with that. Like if it's card game for adults, and then the rest of the bullet.
Okay.
But right now there's no breaks in reading it. And on mobile it's even worse.
Shorter bullet points, basically, what you're saying.
Connect generations, that's more of a brand story and
Fair.
less of a
Yeah, that's fair.
buy it. I like this one, diversión que entrena la mente. So that's what I was saying in the beginning that you beat me up for. It's a mind challenge game. Somebody who's looking for that type of game, that would be good, and I would hit it capital letters in the very beginning. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? Get your roast in. Come on.
Well, it's a question, just going off that. Does it have to, are we staying on the bullet thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Jump around.
I'm just curious, so like, is there a reason, or would you consider doing an English version? Or do you feel like your niche is not English?
So this is a brand that I'm starting specifically because I feel like the Latino market is very underrepresented.
Yes.
So I want to make products for the Latino market.
Okay, but my question is, like, let's say someone like me, I'm like, I just said, I'm like, oh, I want one, I want to buy it. I'm like, I can't.
I mean, I've gotten plenty of reviews already that say, hey, we're learning Spanish. Really, all you really need to learn is 8 words for this game.
Right, but the reality is, I'm not going to bring it to, my mom's not going to play with me in Spanish.
Right.
But the thing is, like, because what if, like, Carlos' wife is like, oh, I want to buy this for 6 of my friends that don't speak Spanish. I just feel like there's a big...
Well, I agree with, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to recall him making a conscious decision when he was going to do this product. Am I going after the English market, or am I going after the Spanish market? If you create, there's some advantages
8 words
in intentionally going for a specific market, and when you do that, because you do that, things like putting new in English actually detracts. It's like, wait a minute, like, what are you doing
That's
here?
fair, yeah.
But that's also why this detracts, in my opinion, which is you said this in Spanish. All right, stick to your guns. You believe in this. Now, why do you put in English Spanish card game for adults and family? So, like, it seems like he decided to ride the fence at some point. But I don't think there's anything wrong with just going for Spanish. And if somebody wants to play it in English and they can't, you can't win them all.
Well, the thing is, even if it's,
But if you also, if you're going to do that and you have something unique and you decided to exclude some people because of their language, you don't do it for $11.97. Like, your advantage in going here was that you're this relatively more unique thing and have less competition. Go to $19.99.
let me ask you, if over time you have tons of people like me, like, but I want to, would you then go, okay, let me just say, oh, here's, because I don't know if the Spanish customer is going to really care if there's another version in English. They still have their full-on Spanish.
Oh, you're talking about having another listing that's in English? Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, because, I mean, don't you just feel like there's money left on the table?
I would disagree. I think if you have your avatar, your customer avatar, and you know exactly who you're targeting and who you're speaking to and who is in your email list, you cater to them and them only.
Yeah, I hear you. I just want to play.
He did.
Yeah.
So you invented that?
Yeah. He doesn't have 9 patents like our gentleman here, but.
They're right, I wish.
Okay, so no, listen, so for me, let's say I'm a new customer and I'm looking for card games for adults, right? I Google it, let's say I go in Spanish, right? It comes up. I don't know what the game is about.
Let me see if my
So
wife
now
left
I
a
have to
review.
be interested in going to look further, right? So I think to me, it's like, what's the hook there for me to do so? That's
So if you don't know what the game is about, I mean, that's the whole point. We try to sell them with a video explaining on how to play. That video there that he pulled up, it's a video explaining on how you actually play the game and who it's for, right? Yeah.
With that app that you mentioned, be good for this part?
Would, yeah, absolutely great. Ramon's the only one that doesn't like apps. He likes apps except for, he's allergic to recurring
Make like
monthlies.
a translation of the word, like for example, rojo and red in the same card.
Well, that's pretty
I
good.
could
Somebody
try,
said
but
it got me
that-
thinking about
again,
someone.
I'm trying
This
to
would
just
actually
say-
be a really cool game for someone starting to learn Spanish. Like I
Yeah.
heard somebody say that a second ago, and I've been.
So some of the reviews specifically say that, hey, like, you know, we're trying to, I want my kids to learn Spanish, so I bought them and they're enjoying it and they're,
Yeah, it's 8 words, like, you can learn that in a day.
You don't
Right.
need a translation because the color is on, you know, it's red, it's.
Yeah, but it says something.
Oh no, the game is. It's fun. It's just usually when I have time to sit down and play some games with my wife, or the rare times we get to go, I'm just exhausted. I can barely keep my eyes open, so like I'm mentally. But it's surprisingly like. Yeah, you're not gonna. You need to move fast, and it has that element of like you want to go and hit it. So it's really good.
What is it? So you got like match.
By the way, if you guys want to support,
You gotta say
buy
your
it.
name, your number.
what's that?
If anyone wants to support, by the way, just buy the card game.
Yeah.
Give it to your
Before I raise
Spanish
the
friends.
price, yeah.
It says
Give it to your Spanish friends.
blue, so you have to get the red item, but you're looking at blue, so it's, you gotta pay attention.
You came up with this from scratch?
There's a game like that
Yeah,
in English. where
there's a game similar to that.
You throw cards, and
Right.
when the card lands on the number thing, and you slap.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's different
Okay,
games.
so let's look at the images.
So the new is a problem.
New is a problem. The new is a problem, and show don't tell is a possibility, something worth testing.
I mean, I added it there only because it was new, but I mean, the intention is to take it off soon.
Right, and assuming the new goes away, or the same reason I think it should go away or change to nuevo is the same reason why that should probably go. Is this stock? Is this AI?
I mean, it's stock, yeah.
I hope I don't get beat up for what I'm about to say. I think you went with like a Mexican hat. When somebody said that, it looks like a very obviously Mexican hat, right? I think if you said what to anyone, obviously there's more than just Mexicans that are Hispanic or Latino, but if you were like, what's an article of clothing that is one that just says I am Latino, that hat would be it. So like, well done. But if you're going with that exaggerated stereotype is like, I want to make this visually, immediately identifiable to people, this is probably the least Hispanic looking group of hands I have ever seen.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
You're right.
So I know that they can look like that, but why I like the logic in the first one
You're right.
doesn't really go with this.
You're absolutely right.
Right? So like, did you just say that? Put a little dirt under the nail? He said it, guys. I didn't. I'm just kidding. Watch Slinky Soap's sales spike now. Okay.
I said red.
I'll tell you what. This is not their hands.
Red nails.
All right. A pet peeve of mine is, I know what listing I'm on now. I've seen your logo on the packaging. Why are you sticking this like a watermark on all your images? It bothers me. I don't know if it bothers other people.
You mean removing the title from there?
The hat. It's just distracting.
It's too Mexican.
Oh, this is interesting.
No, it's just, you think of it as a Mexican game.
Does everybody have that arrow that shows up on theirs? That's kind of interesting if somebody sees this on their computer. I'd move it.
You've been selling this for a while?
Couple of months.
Perfecto. Does it say perfecto para?
Yes.
Carlos, you prefer like a Cuban caballero, right?
Perfecto para.
They have
Noches
it.
familiares, fiestas y reuniones.
It doesn't show up on mobile.
It doesn't show up on mobile?
That shared icon.
Can anyone check on a computer? Because if that's the case, you're going to want to move this image bubble. But pet peeve of mine. This is good. Your second one's not good. Right?
The hands, you mean?
Yeah, it's not. You have a card game with families at the house, and you show that. Show what you show here on a dining room table. I don't know, but this to me doesn't. To me, it
What
just kinda looks
specifically
like,
do you like?
To me, it
Not
looks
like
somebody got too caught up in their branding.
So what I wanted to achieve is how do you explain the game as quickly as possible to people? That was the whole point of this card.
I would copy everything on this listing and say, ChatGPT, tell me 10 ways that I can explain this as quickly as possible. And then I would edit it and grab what works and what I think it hallucinated on. And I think we could come up with that like right now. Pet peeve of mine, I think it's good to start, but if you were looking to like evolve and everyone's like, I already have mine, what would I do different? I have this thing, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here, but like, I feel like, I don't know if you've ever met someone and you're talking to them, you're like, hey sir, how are you? He said, no, not sir, doctor. And I'm like, if you had to tell me that, then I ain't calling you doctor. You know what I mean? Like, does anyone get me what I'm saying? Like, if you have to say it and tell someone to say something, you don't do it. There's another YouTube video and the thumbnail, and again, your images are thumbnails, and it's this guy underwater of it, you know, his fingers bleeding, and there's a shark in the background, and the title was in the image. The title of the video says, "Can sharks really smell blood from a mile away?" Right? But the image just has a guy underwater bleeding, and there's a shark in the background. If he would have put text on the screen, on that image, it would have dramatically taken away. Like, he was able to communicate visually by blood on the finger, being underwater, and a shark behind. That tells you, oh shit, this is gonna be bad off everything that I know. When you have to add text, not only do people not like reading and don't read, but you cheapen the whole experience. So it seems like from your text here, it says, this is perfect for families. So you wanna show an image that shows perfect for families, perfect for special nights with families, or fun nights with families. Parties and reunions, which is probably noches familiares, so it's all the same thing. So what your image needs to show is a special family night playing your cards. That text isn't needed. To me, it cheapens it a lot, and that hurts conversions. Like, there's a lot of ways.
So what do you suggest? You just remove the text?
I don't think there's anything that wrong with the image. I think that communicates how most people play the game. I think most people would just default to show a perfectly clean dining room table and everyone's sitting at their seat in a score pad with a perfect score pad, and that's not realistic. This looks realistic, like somebody sitting on the floor. It's all mixed up, Indian style. There's some stuff crammed in the background in the corner. I think the image works. I think the text should go.
Interesting.
Please go ahead.
If it were me, I think, you see how she's wearing a green shirt? I think it's competing with cards.
Oh, very good call. Yeah, a little Photoshop there. That's excellent. That's a really good eye.
Make it pink.
Yeah.
Pink?
That's probably why I also have an issue with that red Colorazo hat right there with the red that's underneath it. But I think it's too distracting.
What's that green in the corner? Bottom?
That's just some extra stuff.
No.
Oh, yeah, I gotta go.
No, that's
Yeah,
the
it's.
same thing.
I think you have something that's.
Consciously, yeah.
Yeah, if you took all that away and looked at it, you'd probably have 9 out of 10 people look at that and reach the conclusion in their own way.
Got it.
So
that makes sense.
But don't do a pink shirt. Do it like his and hers, like that beigey, like just whitish, nothing.
Or a Marlin jersey.
Less people.
Like she goes to Whole Foods.
I would take the ring off.
Yeah, what ring is that? Who wears
I have
rings
no
like
idea.
that?
Just,
What is that? That's your ring, isn't it?
oh my God.
Straight from the airport, straight from the airport. That's dedication.
Now we can do some roasting. This red is to indicate the smack.
Right.
That's
The
No
whole point is to
complaints.
indicate slapping the card.
the ring again.
So the ring is a problem, okay?
Yeah. Also going back to the exaggeration on the hat to communicate Hispanic, we agree on, and these not being Hispanic enough hands.
Okay.
Or as Eddie said, not enough dirt under the fingernails. And these are also not, these need to be Hispanic-fied more.
Hispanified.
Hispanified.
Wait, why is her hand, it's blurry?
It's
Is
a
that
long
just
fingernails,
supposed
they're
to-
moving.
Yeah, so the whole point is to show, part of the game is slapping a card, right?
To be fast, I wouldn't do that.
Is there somewhere that shows the rules of the game?
If we
Yeah,
wanted, if we
the
wanted to
video.
trigger some people, we could say, why did the guy's hand win? Is there some,
The video shows a woman winning, so.
his hand's there. He got there so fast that she's still blurry and not getting there. Like, he was quick. This guy was really quick. No.
Some empanadas or quesadillas.
Oh, wow, there we go. I don't know, I can't take you guys anywhere.
Tortillas or
It's like he smacked her.
tacos, Mexican sombrero, I don't know.
We already did that. He did that in the beginning. Apparently this represents all Spanish people. Okay. No, this I like it. Shows the card, this indicates well the smack. I don't like the ring. I think it's not Hispanified enough on your hands if you're going for the exaggerated, typical stereotype. Piensa rápido, thought bubble, I got it. I've never seen anybody's table look like that unless they're playing on a piece of wood from Home Depot.
Yeah.
Maybe change that bottom out.
Black tablecloth.
And again, I think, did you just add a black stripe here? Or
Yeah.
is it that dark in their house beyond the table?
No, that's just some design element by the artist.
I think you can clean this up a lot, but I think the idea you're going for is not bad. Okay, her hand was not in any of them.
You gotta represent a little bit of everything, right? Hispanics are not all brown.
I like her.
Well, then why did you throw in a little cafetera here?
There you go.
Huh?
Why did you throw in a cafetera there? Why didn't you represent, you know what I mean? Like, you went, I think you did right with that.
Piñata.
Yeah, these are very Pinecrest hands here. Like, okay. I think this is a wasted card. Personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is a waste. This is like, oh my God, I just need to launch this thing. I need to stick something here. Or on Fridays, they'll give me a hard time that I didn't use all my spaces. This doesn't. Another monumental waste. You're trying. Are you trying to say fits in your pocket?
Right.
I think that's accept that. It's a
Yeah,
card
something
game.
you can take, card game you can take anywhere, right? It fits in your pocket, you're gonna be able to travel with it, play wherever you want to play. It's not gonna be a huge.
I think with a card, I think if you were dealing with a coffee grinder or coffee maker and you wanted to show that you could travel with it, I think it collapses in a suitcase. I think if you're talking about a card game, everyone kind of gets the size of cards. They get that it can fit in your pocket. They've held cards before. I don't think this sort of needs to be said.
How long does it take to play and learn? Is there like a timer or a clock?
It's very difficult to learn. Let's
Is this a
see.
game that you can like recreate in all different type of languages?
Can you?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's about to launch. That sounds like a question for somebody's about to launch. ChatGPT, you don't even have to know the language either. You can do a French version, you can do it. Let's see this video. Let's see what cultural misappropriation you have done here.
The goal is to be the first player to play
No,
That's
tech-
English?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Candace is on fire.
No.
So we have
no,
found
he's-
Candace's
hear-
zone. It's roasting
Hear me out.
people.
Hear me out. It's not on purpose.
So I like my Yelp reviews.
So it's not on purpose. So if you're in the English, if you prefer English in Amazon, I cannot show you a video in Spanish. They will not allow me to upload a video in Spanish. So the only way that I can show you a video is if I translate it.
Wait, I have a question. What if somebody, a customer, all their search, everything they do is in Spanish? Is this video then going to play to them in Spanish?
Yes.
Oh.
You put subtitles in Spanish on the video.
You know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah. I think subtitles is good.
It's a good idea.
I went all in for a while on these drawing type, whiteboard-ish stuff, from the cheapy ones to the expensive ones, and the only difference was the degree of bad that they converted. Like, I've never encountered one that converted anywhere near as good as a real person sitting with a real person, even if it was mediocre. That's usually the case anytime you get something that you can bang out 20 of them. Where they do, and that's for a product on Amazon or an ad on Amazon, where they do work good is from like a landing page, or I've seen them do decent on sales pages, websites, but on Amazon.
But Carlos, for card games, like the most famous one out there is Exploding Kittens.
Mm-hmm.
So that has an infomercial for people to watch how the game actually works, and a cartoon footage like this. So
It's friendly. For a card game, it's friendly.
Yeah, but I wouldn't use Exploding Kittens, Monopoly, or anything else that wildly succeeded for a lot of other reasons as like if Weber Grill came out right now with a way to show their grill, or Traeger, and it was bad, they can get away with it because of who they are. Like Exploding Kittens could do a whole bunch of bad stuff and have a mediocre listing. It doesn't mean that it's still a good thing to do, or that you can get away with it. Just in my experience, they don't convert anywhere near as good as something even mediocre with real people.
what about even over there?
She doesn't know Spanish. No. She apparently doesn't believe in hair color either.
Yeah,
But she's got, apparently she makes the coffee. He doesn't.
Right, but see again, like I'm looking at the hat and the coffee pot first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you've played the game though, if you've played the game, this makes,
This
is really cool.
The items. of-
Like the thought that went into this, if you knew the game, is like, oh, you're like more into it.
But Carlos, but think about it. This is for anybody before they played the game, isn't it?
This should be geared more towards somebody who's not been exposed to the
Right,
game.
because
This
that's-
really only hits if you've played the game.
Right, that's the thing, it's like,
Yeah, so the game you're supposed to know forwards, right? The hat, the coffee maker, the piñata, and the guitar. So those are the 4 items you're supposed to know.
Got it.
That's why there's 2 people playing, and one has a hat, and another one has.
Before we do the A+, and then we only got to 2 listings today, we'll wrap up. Sorry, I went over. I started a little late. Is to recap, probably don't need the brand name in the front here, especially since this is how most people, he says, are searching for the game. Unless you're doing a lot of content and trying to go for branded search, then it makes sense for it to be in the front.
Yeah.
If you're going for the Spanish market, go for the Spanish market. Don't also repeat the thing in English. Hispanified hands, clean up some of your images, remove a bunch of distractions. What was the
What are
other?
your thoughts on like the price point?
I hate $11.97, especially if you've decided to not go after the bigger market in English and create something specifically for a market that's very wildly underserved. Because you're going after an underserved market, you charge more. Kind of like if you've decided to add value to the world and create something and get 9 patents, you shouldn't go for how low am I willing to sell this thing for. Same principle. Every week or so he adds one.
6, but we're getting my son.
9 sounds better.
I think it's a great deal. It could be Colorado.
Yeah.
Like color and manotazo, so color and slap.
Oh,
Because you slap the card and it's about colors.
Yeah. Again, seems like you got lazy or tired or whatever here at the end.
At least you're tired. Wow. Okay.
Well, I haven't seen you at the gym in a while, I figured. Let's jump down.
I like that.
And
I
again,
said or.
And
Lazy
again,
or tired.
Amazon does not allow me to have EBC in Spanish, or else I would. They won't let me.
That's a good picture though, that
Will it let you write it in Spanish, cross out with a line, and then write English, kind of like?
I would love to have it all in Spanish, but they don't allow me.
Then why not invest in images that don't require text? And go with the the very Hispanic look.
I guess. Yeah.
Either way, even if this could be, this is a lot of text. Like, put language to the side for a second. This requires a bunch of reading. For a game that only has, there's more words needed to read this than there are words in the game that you need to know to play it.
Yeah.
Like, learn to play in 60 seconds, that's an infographic. You don't need to have text there. Showing in that image a party or a get-together where people are playing implies that it's perfect to play at an event like that. So like, this is a lot of like not needed text. Cafetera roja, if you're gonna say that, I would kind of circle it on the card like answer here. Otherwise, if you've not played the game, Cafetera roja means what? So if you do know Spanish and you look at it, you're like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? But if you have it and then you show the card where that's the answer and you're pointing to it, the person's like, oh, I kind of get what's going on here. Make sense?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain how to play the game in just one image. So.
Okay.
I like those images.
Yep, I do too. It's like this communicates.
Right.
This one almost communicates everything you said here.
Right.
Like, Carlos, do you agree that those should be more in those top images?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You survived, bro. Barely. All right, we went over, apologies for that. I wanted to get to the third listing, but we went a little deeper. Again, we'll do these every now and then, and in the future, send your own listing or send somebody else's listing, a competitor's listing, whatever you want. If I have them in advance, I can prepare a lot better for them, and we'll be able to cover some more listings. But I hope you liked it. Share feedback if you want to see more of these, and thank you very much. All right, how do I do this? No, all good. Okay.
Is that right?
Yep.
To show you, well, I guess my top competitor using this reference. Like, just send it to you or just let him. I said, okay, I'll say like, here's an idea, it's not the brand, it's not what my class is.
I think you should send it. Yeah, you can totally send that in the chat. You can send, even if it's not relevant, but you think it might be relevant, still send it in the chat.
Well, he told me making a Google